Hello and welcome to the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. My name is Lewis Ray and alongside me is Dylan Goodrick, we have 10 fantastic races coming up from round 4 here at Clay Pigeon. So before we get into them, let's have a look at what the riders had to say when we had to chat to them in the paddock yesterday.
We are joined by Jason and Leo Greenstreet, driver of a Mini GP F1 Sidecar. Now Jason, that's correct. What makes sidecar racing so appealing?
It's partly the team game. You've got two people on the outfit. You've got someone to have a laugh with off the, when you come back off the track. It's exciting in that we've done cars, we've done bikes. This is something a little bit different. This ticks all the boxes for us. This is where the most fun's to be had. So this is what we do.
What's the most challenging part of driving a sidecar?
For me, it's the keeping my neck strength, because I'm laid fully down with my head back. That becomes a bit challenging through the race. It's generally tiring, like any car or bike racing is. Just getting the gear shifts is a job sometimes just to achieve that. As for Leo, he has to work a bit harder than me, and that's all down to technique, but I'm sure he can tell you about that.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what is it like being the passenger?
Oh yeah, to be honest, it's not too bad. It's pretty fun as well. Don't know much more to say to that, to be honest.
Okay. So what are your guys' expectations going into this weekend?
Our position, as far as we view it, is to always aim for seconds now. If it rains, that might not be the case, but we'll see. We have a bit of work to do in the rain. We've not always been brilliant. Could go either way at the moment. So our main aim is to obviously chase Mick at the front, try and close that gap down little by little, but I think we need to do some development to the outfit first.
So you're crossing your fingers that it doesn't rain tomorrow then?
Yes and no. It's always a good challenge. As I said, we need to get better anyway, so you might as well face your demons sometime.
So what do you guys make of this circuit specifically? Is it a good track for you guys?
Yeah, I like the circuit. The facilities here are brilliant, probably one of the best on the calendar. You can see a lot as a spectator, so that's good for people watching. So it is one of our favourites, yeah.
Okay, ideal. Well, thank you very much, you guys. I wish you both luck for this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Cheers.
We are in the paddock with Jacob and Guy today, who are here at Clay Pigeon Raceway. Can I please get your thoughts, lads, on the track and whether or not you enjoy it?
Yeah, good track. Some nice memories from last year, but looking forward to racing the sidecar this weekend. Yeah.
And what about you?
I really like this track. I like all the corners, and I like the straights because you go fast.
So obviously not racing here this weekend, only practicing, but how is it all going?
Not too bad to say. It's the third time I've been on a bike in my life, so slowly but surely.
So under-experienced for sure, but you'll get there eventually, is that what you're saying?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. What about you?
It's my first time out on this bike, so I'm liking it. It's feeling smooth and it's feeling fast. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much, lads. Good luck to the both of you. So here we have Philip Zaruriak from the Extremes. Philip, before we get into anything, can I ask you about the Elmo on your race suit?
It's basically my dog's just called Elmo, so we just put him on our leathers.
So is that a lucky charm?
I think so, yeah.
I hear you've been racing in the British Talent Cup. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I've progressed to British Talent Cup from the 70s, the kind of quickest class in FAB. And yeah, it's going well so far. I'm progressing in results. The results are getting better and better each round. So yeah, overall it's positive, yeah. So
FAB has been a brilliant place to start your career.
Yeah, it taught me a lot, especially it's kind of my first championship that I've raced in, so it definitely taught me a lot, yeah.
So where do you see yourself in a couple of years' time?
In a few years, maybe Red Bull Rookies and progress further to make my dream come true.
So we're going to talk about this weekend, Clay Pigeon Raceway. What are your thoughts on the track? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I really love the track actually. It's probably my favourite track, or one of my top 2 tracks that I've been on that FAB race on. And yeah, it's a really good track. Hopefully it doesn't rain tomorrow, but we'll see, yeah.
So you're expecting some good results this weekend then?
Yeah, hopefully you can get some podiums. Yeah, overall, I think it'll be a really good weekend.
Okay, well I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Hello Bailey. How has this season been going for you so far? Are you confident with how you've been performing?
It's been going all right. It seems to be like a little pattern. Like every other race, it's been going. Like every other race has been better. Because last round I was doing quite well, but this round it's not going so well. So it's kind of like a pattern.
So do you think this poor luck will continue this weekend, or are you hopeful that you can score some good results?
Hopefully that I can get better, but it's just see how it goes.
So what are your goals for this weekend? Do you have anything in mind?
I want to get at least a 42.
Where do you see yourself heading in the future?
I want to go after this. I want to skip the 70s and go into the pit bikes like my brother, but he's not going to be here next year because he's going into the Navy, so it'll just be me.
Fair enough. So you could certainly learn some tips and tricks from your brother then?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We are joined by Craig and Dan from the senior mini Moto class. Can you tell us, guys, how's it been going out there today?
Yeah, quite competitive, I feel. I have to wait and see when the rest of the field turns up how we get on.
And you?
Yeah, having a laugh. Logan's racing in the rookies. I'm having fun today on the test day. I'm not doing the race weekend, but trying to catch this big chap here. He's still faster than me, but yeah, having fun.
Well, what are your goals going into the weekend? Do you have any results in mind?
A podium would be nice, or even better, a win.
Do you have any strategies in mind that you believe could get you a podium?
Knock everyone off.
That's what everyone else says. Do you like Clay Pigeon?
It's not my favourite, but yeah, I'm as I said, going quite consistently here, so yeah, I suppose I do like it.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, it's our first time here. I found it a bit of a bizarre circuit, in all honesty. They're all very late apexes. But yeah, as I've done a few more laps around here now, I'm starting to really enjoy it. It's got a nice flow to it. Keep the speed up, don't back off. It's it's good fun.
Yeah. Are there any specifically challenging sections of the track?
I would probably say the last 2 corners, trying to get them right. You can take the second to last flat stick, but there's a nasty bump that if you get your tipping point wrong, it punishes you quite badly. But
So looking forward to the rest of the season, where do you want to see yourself before the next round?
Number 1 spot, of course.
Well, I'm sure I shouldn't have expected anything else. What about you?
Yeah, I'm probably going to carry on just doing the test days. So my main focus is Logan doing the rookie championship. So, but you know, you never know. If we prove to be well in testing, I might be forced into having a go. But we'll have to see.
So we might see you soon then.
Yeah, I reckon so. Count me out.
Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
We are joined by Mini Moto elite rider Dylan Tureen. Dylan, how has this weekend been going for you so far?
It's been going good. I like it. Track is nice and fast. I like it. It's great. Fastest.
What are your expectations this weekend? What would you like to achieve by Sunday?
At least come 5th, maybe 4th. I don't know.
Fair enough. So you race in the pros and the elites. Which one do you find more challenging?
Elites.
So you think you can finish 5th in the pros? What about the elites?
Elites maybe 7th.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I wish you luck.
Yeah, I race the AC40 Pro Air Cord. So in the elites, they race liquid cord, which are faster than air cord, and yeah.
Fair enough. Which one do you prefer racing in?
Air cord.
Fair enough. What do your friends and family think of your racing career so far?
They think I'm really good and amazing.
Yeah, so what are your plans for the future? What are your goals and dreams?
In the future? So, at least winning in the future maybe, yeah.
So who are your idols within motorsport? Any motorcycle riders that you look up to?
Yeah, my dad and Pit Bike Sonic.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the interview, Dylan.
Okay, bye.
Hello, Ethan. Obviously, a strong season so far. We've arrived at Clay Pigeon Raceway. What are your thoughts on the track?
Yeah, last season I struggled a bit here, but this season I'm having quite good fun, and now it's my favourite track.
Ideal. Do you? What are your thoughts going into this weekend? Any goals?
If it's wet tomorrow for our race, hopefully just to finish the race to keep a lead in the championship, and when it's dry on Sunday to hopefully win the races.
How have the practice sessions been going so far? Are you happy with how the bike feels?
Yeah, the bike's been going well. I've topped every practice and got a second lead, so I think I'm going to be strong in the dry.
Okay, ideal. Thank you very much, Ethan. We are joined by Marco Holt from the Mini GP50s and the Mini GP70s. I've been told that you've been doing some Moto 5 racing over in Spain. Could you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's going really well over there. We're third in the championship at the moment. We finished a second last weekend, and the first round we had a fifth and a fourth.
Can you use that as momentum here at Clay Pigeon?
Well, yeah, it's going so well, good so far, but Ethan Sparks, he's just a smidge quicker, so just trying to find that tiny bit extra bit of speed.
Are you a fan of this circuit?
Yes.
Are there any tricky sections that you find a challenge?
I struggle with the hairpin at the bottom and turn one, well, the kink and then the right into there. They're the two that's like the ones that I struggle with the most.
So what are your goals? Where do you expect to finish this weekend?
I'm hoping for a first, but if not, I just want a top three.
So is that in the 50s or 70s?
Both.
Both, yeah? You're confident?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. So here we have Mason from the Mini Moto Rookies. Hello, Mason.
Hello.
We're at Clay Pigeon Raceway today. Pretty interesting track. What are your thoughts on it?
It's very smooth and nice.
Do you believe you could have a good performance this weekend?
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the top 10.
Okay, so I wish you luck with that. What do your friends at school think of your motorcycling career?
I haven't really told them much, so...
So you'd rather stay discreet, would you?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Who are your idols in motor racing?
Valentino Rossi.
Safe answer. Anyway, thank you very much, Mason. So here we are at Clay Pigeon Raceway. Are you a fan of this track?
I love this track. Reminds me of the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Very fast, very flowing. Not very fast, not very many slow corners. It's all nice and flowy. Short lap. One of the shortest tracks. I think it is the shortest track we go to here. 39 seconds lap for the pit points, which always makes it interesting in qualifying and in the races when we go around together in the swarm.
Yeah, obviously we have a very large pit bike grid as well. So are you expecting to be lapping any traffic this weekend?
Yeah, I'm expecting to be lapping around probably about mid-race. We'll start to hit some of the people, but the good thing is even the back markers in this class, no one's slow anymore. It used to be people were quite a few seconds off. Now it's maybe 1-2 seconds separating us all, so everyone's improving, which is good to see.
Okay. So obviously you have a pretty strong rivalry with Rossi Banham at the moment. How can you take the fight to him this weekend?
Knock him off. No, joking. Between the rivalry is between Reese, Rossi, me and Lucas Brown, I believe. We're always usually like at Ella, the front four, like get away just a bit and battle to the end. And when it comes to the race, all our paces are near enough identical as we saw at Ella Park at the end.
So obviously going for the win then?
Going for the win. You always got to go for the win, or you might as well not be here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. So, Ronnie, we've heard some exciting new rumours concerning your involvement in the Talent Cup. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I had a go on a match kit 125 and I went really well on it, and I was inside the lap record at Lydden Hill, so hopefully Vision Track want me to do hopefully 2 wild cards this year in the British Talent Cup, and then hopefully next year I'll be able to do it full time.
Very, very cool, very cool. How about this weekend though? Are you comfortable at Clay Pigeon Raceway?
I like the track, it's a very nice track, fast and smooth. I was a bit off the pace to start with, and I had a couple of crashes, which it could be my error, tyre, suspension, we don't know, but I've got faster and I'm back on the pace now, so hopefully I can get a good qualifying.
So what are your expectations going into the weekend? Do you have any goals set for yourself?
I want to try I want to try and be on the podium every race, but I'm going to try and win every race as well.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck. So, Ronnie, we've heard some exciting new rumours concerning your involvement in the Talent Cup. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I had a go on a match kit 125, and I went really well on it. And I was inside the lap record at Linden Hill, so hopefully Vision Track want me to do hopefully 2 wild cards this year in the British Talent Cup, and then hopefully next year I'll be able to do it full time.
Very, very cool, very cool. How about this weekend though? Are you comfortable at Clay Pigeon Raceway?
I like the track, it's a very nice track, fast and smooth. I was a bit off the pace to start with, and I had a couple of crashes, which it could be my error, tyre, suspension, we don't know, but I've got faster and I'm back on the pace now, so hopefully I can get a good qualifying.
So what are your expectations going into the weekend? Do you have any goals set for yourself?
I want to try and be on the podium every race, but I'm going to try and win every race as well.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
So, Ronnie, we've heard some exciting new rumours concerning your involvement in the Talent Cup. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I had a go on a match kit 125.
So here we have Noah Guillory, a resident artist within the Paddock. How has your season gone so far? Do you have anything to say?
It's gone pretty good. I'm in 5th in the championship on the Extreme 200s, and I'm just in the 70 class just for extra training.
Do you find it difficult to balance the two? Is it difficult to transition from one bike to another?
I'm not really switching from one bike to the other. I'm kind of just staying on the 70, but on the Friday practices, I do sometimes go on the CRF 150.
Fair enough. Clay Pigeon Raceway, are you a fan of the circuit? Are there any difficult challenges?
Not really. I really like this circuit because it's nice and flowy, and there's a lot of overtaking opportunities.
So what are your goals for this weekend?
Top 5 in 70s, and in extreme, hopefully a top 3.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. So here we have Max from the Mini Moto Rookie Series. Max, how has it been going so far this weekend?
I've really enjoyed it, and I've really enjoyed riding with my friends, and the paddock's really nice, and yeah, I just really enjoy it and have fun, and that's all that matters.
So what are your goals for this weekend?
Top 15 and top 10. So first, top 15 will be good because it's for points, and the top 10 will be even more really good, and it will be brilliant and will be more points.
So how's the season gone for you so far? Have you been improving?
Yeah, my best position is 8th, and I've had some really good starts, and yeah, and well, I have had one crash, which was a DNF. I got run over, which was a bit scary for me, but next day later I went back out and I smashed it. My best personal time of the race, which was 8.
So how have you been finding Clay Pigeon Raceway so far this weekend? Is it a track you enjoy?
Yeah, because well, the first session I finished 12th, and then the last 4 sessions I've been finishing 9th, and so far I've been finishing in the top 10, which is really good.
So what are your dreams for the future? Where do you see yourself in a couple of years' time?
Maybe in like BSB or something like that, or maybe pit bikes and FAB-Racing.
Well, cool. Thank you very much, Max. I wish you all the best. Here we have Matthew Thomas from the Mini Moto Pro Championship. Matthew, how has this season been going for you so far?
Good. I'm 4th in the championship. I was second. I was at Ella, but I had a couple of crashes, so it made me go down to 4th.
Do you believe that you can pull back that ground this weekend at Clay Pigeon?
Yes.
Yeah. What are your plans going into the weekend? Do you have any strategies, any goals?
Just try copy other people's lines and see how fast they get me to.
Do you find this track challenging?
Yeah.
It's an interesting circuit. So where do you see yourself going forward for the rest of the season?
Probably second, or at least second for the season, so I can move up to match kits.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much, Matthew.
Hello and welcome to the fourth round of the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship here at Clay Pigeon. My name is Lewis Ray, and alongside me for his debut in the commentary box we have Dylan Goodrick. Dylan, how does it feel to be here, and how are you? And just introduce yourself.
Oh, it's honestly excellent. We've had lots of action this weekend so far. We've had a bit of a curveball with the weather today as well, because we've had a lot of showers and then we've had a lot of dry patches, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it certainly is, and as you said, mixed conditions all morning. The rain's just been on and off, and you join us during the closing moments of the qualifying 2 session for the Moto team class, where the riders are going to try and get the qualifying session in the grid positions for the rest of the weekend. And really, it's such a crucial session here at FAB, because if you've never joined us here before, welcome. This FAB Racing, the peak of British minibike racing in the UK, and basically the qualifying positions in your qualifying sessions, they decide your qualifying starting positions for all of the races. All 3 races are decided from the session, so it's so crucial just to get laps in and really just feel the way for a circuit, because conditions are ever so changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course here in Moto Team we have 2 classes, being the Moto Team Open and the Moto Team Standard. We currently have Darren Anderson at the top of the timing tower, with Will Howarth trying to get another pole position. Obviously he started at the back last week to try and work his way through. So yeah, we're in for an interesting weekend in the Moto Team.
Yeah, we certainly are. And as you said, Will Howarth last weekend, just a dominant performance, and it was something that is quite unusual to see in the Moto Team, because usually that's his sparring partner Darren Anderson, who of course missed last round, but he's back and he's topping the session, so I do not think it's going to be an easy one for Will Howarth this week. Jason Pugh also in second place, breaking up the 2, so it's a real mix of grid, and these conditions, it's the type of conditions that you just have to stay on track and do the laps, because every single lap you could just be going faster and faster.
Yeah, as you said, they improve lap on lap. We've just seen that with Will Howarth improving on his time, going ahead of Scott Jewett, the number 333 bike. But yeah, no, who knows? We're definitely in for a good race within this category, which we will see shortly.
Yeah, we certainly will. And going into the weekend, you've heard from some of the riders there, and some breaking news there as well, with Ronnie Harris racing in the Mini GP70s, confirming really that he's going to be doing a wild card in the British Talent Cup. So it's just showing that FAB Racing is the place to be, and it's really where riders of all ages can learn racing, have fun, and well, it's close racing in all classes. Although this is not a big field right now in the Moto team class, only 8 bikes on track at the moment, it's one that is certainly close, and that is the checker flag out actually for the Moto team, and Darren Anderson tops it, with Will Howarth closely behind in second place, rounding off the first row of the grid. So these 2, it certainly looks like it's going to be a close race like we've seen almost all year. Yeah, we're certainly going to see a battle between the 2. Darren Anderson, brilliant lap there, setting a 48.341, with Will Howarth just behind with a 44.806, as we watch Will Howarth coming into the hairpin now. So yeah, that's a good qualifying session for the lads on track in the Moto team. Yeah, it certainly is, and it's one that Will Howarth, you can't be too disappointed in. In second place, it's, well, this is only Q2. Of course, the 2 qualifying sessions get combined, so we'll let you know as soon as we get the combined sessions in. But it was a great lap from Darren Anderson, and really this may be just where he has to try and push as hard as he can to pick up the valuable championship points that are lost last round, because although this is an 8-round championship, it's so easy if you miss 1 round to almost throw it all away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, no, Will Howarth can certainly try and continue his good run of form. And what do we have up next?
We have the LC40 Elites up next. These are, of course, a mixed class once again, who, just like the Moto team, the grid sizes range from round to round, and it's a class that is the peak of mini motor racing in the UK. It is the final step before riders usually move up to the Mini GP50s. It's where they finally just horn in the skills, and really it's the last chance to prove yourself in the smaller bikes. But hello, if you're just joining us, and welcome. This is FAB Racing. You're just watching the LC40 Elite qualifying session right now, where riders are going to be trying just to get their final laps in and final chances to check everything right of the bike, and well, really just before the race starts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, many of you out there may not be too familiar with mini motor racing. It is a difficult series for sure. Obviously, we have some very, very small bikes within this series, So yeah, we shall watch the lads out on track as they begin to qualify for the race.
Yeah, they will. And right now we have 5 bikes out on track, but the LC40 Elites, it always brings up close and exciting racing because it's almost 2 classes in one race. You have liquid cooled mini motos and air cooled mini motos. The air cooled bikes are usually slightly slower in a straight line compared to liquid cools, but time and time again, Byron Johnson, who usually races in the LC40 Elites, he proves them all wrong and can still pick up podiums and wins. So yeah, it's such a close class, and it's one where you really get to see the talents of the future because these kids are still young, some of them only being 8-9 year olds, which is a crazy amount of speed. I believe these bikes do 56 miles per hour in a straight line, which, well, I don't know about you, Dylan, but certainly at their age I can never imagine going that speed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've only really started going that speed around now, but it would be interesting to see how the track conditions play a part in this qualifying session. As you can see on our broadcast, you can see many puddles lining the sides of the track, and we do have some damper patches of tarmac, so the riders are going to have to try and manoeuvre their way around these damper patches, but we'll have to see how it goes. We've had a few crashes this morning in practice, so we'll see what we're in for today in qualifying.
Yeah, it's such tricky conditions here today in qualifying, and really it's one which just tests all the riders' skills and their confidence because it's changing on lap. There's completely different lines for every single rider, but it's just there's just 5 minutes to go in this session, so not long for these riders, and really it's the time now where you really need to start pushing, just getting a couple consistent laps in before you go all out in that one qualifying lap. But this track, it's such a technical and twisty track, and Dylan, I know it's your home track, why don't you tell everyone about it?
Oh, it's such an awesome circuit. You have a blind turn into turn 1 and then a sharp right-hander, and yeah, no, it's a phenomenal circuit, definitely challenging for the riders out there. We had a few in the interview say that Clay Pigeon was in fact their favourite track, and it's easy to see why. It's a brilliant flowing track. I believe it was Taylor Lawrence who compared it to the Red Bull Ring in Austria.
Well, we just have 4 minutes left in the session. On your screen right now is the man that I was talking about earlier, Byron Johnson, who, as I was saying earlier, that he can compete up front on the air-cooled bike. He's second place right now in qualifying with a 47 dead, but Sam Gardner currently top session with 46.8, and that is an incredible lap in such tough conditions for these young riders.
Yeah, as we have 4 minutes to go, we obviously also have Austin Johnson within this category, brother to Byron Johnson, so it'll be interesting to see if he can challenge his brother at all, currently sitting down in P9 with a 49.8. But as you said, Sam Gardner currently topping the session, followed by Byron Johnson and Liam Lindquist.
Yeah, and this class really, as we were saying, it's the final time that these riders can just hone in their skills, and it's really where, especially in wet conditions, they can just learn to gain confidence. But it's been such a tough day for these riders so far, and it's really been one that's been testing their abilities and confidence, as I said, because it's on a motorcycle, it's a knife edge really. Whenever you're leaning over on the side of that tyre and needing to crack open that throw as hard as you can and as early as you can in these wet conditions with some damp patches laying about, it's so easy to make a mistake. So really today I believe the key is going to be consistency.
Yeah, Byron Johnson, I believe it was Byron, it may have been Austin, but we saw one of the Johnson boys come off a couple times in practice today.
Yeah, and right now Harrison Day has just topped the session with a 45.982. It is a great lap, and we're just seeing lap times dropping. Not only as the track gets slightly drier, but as the riders gain a bit more confidence, you can just see now on your screen it is Harrison Day who was leading the way, but now it's Sam Gardner going top with a 45.634. So really the riders are starting to dip into that 45s, and it's going to be a question now of just 2 minutes to go in this qualifying. How low can they go in the lap times?
We also have the Johnson brothers third and fourth now, which is good for the family, with Matthew Thomas in fifth and Liam Lindquist down in sixth.
Yeah, Jensen Bishop right now in seventh. A pretty good qualifying for him. The LC40 Elites, it's such a tough class, and it's one that really is the fastest class of mini motors that you can get. So for these riders, maybe just be getting used to that slightly extra speed, slightly extra horsepower, because of course the restrictor sizes slightly changed. But there's Sam Gardner looking for a way past going around that first turn, and I believe that's Chloe Gleason in front of him. So yeah, it's great as well to see more female riders coming involved in motorsport in general, and here at FAB they're really getting the gateway, and really one that is creating a far more diverse sport.
Yeah, with 2 minutes to go now, all these riders are going to have to try and prepare their fastest laps to make sure that they can qualify the best they possibly can. As I said, we have Sam Gardner currently on pole position, but I'm sure that will be challenged by one of the fast lads behind him. So we shall wait and see which rider can put their bike on pole.
Yeah, Sam Gardner, the first round, he was involved in quite a heavy crash, and we've said it multiple times this year, he's came back from it, and he's came back stronger. In fact, he's top in this session, but this is just 1 minute and 20 seconds left in this qualifying session. These are the final couple laps for these riders, and these are the final chances to try and knock Sam Gardner off the top set and off pole position. And can they do it? Well, we're just going to have to wait and find out. There's just 1 minute left. Sam Gardner, as I was just saying, had such a heavy crash at the start of the year. He's came back stronger, and so is Harrison Day. Harrison Day breaking his arm, I believe, in the crash at Clandell in the practice. We missed that whole round. So right now he's just trying to build as much championship points back, but just 50 seconds to go, and now the leaderboards are chopping and changing. What's going to happen? Can Sam Gardner improve, or can one of the Johnsons or Harrison Day ruin his day?
Yeah, as Byron Johnson has just come across the line as we watch Sam Gardner coming onto the start-finish straight to cross the line, and yes, he does improve on his time with a 45.531. Fantastic lap from Sam Gardner there. Can anyone challenge? Yes, Harrison Day can challenge. Harrison Day has put his bike on pole position.
Yeah, Harrison Day, incredible up there, just 98 thousandths of a second ahead of Sam Gardner. It shows how close this class is, and just shows how tough it is to, because on these mini motos it's every little bit that counts. But Harrison Day and Sam Gardner are still going to get another chance at it. This will be their final laps. It's 5 seconds to go. There he is. There is the man of the moment, but it was like a rider getting his way. I believe that is Chloe Gleason. So he's just trying to find any way past, because he knows this is the final lap. This is the final chance to try and keep hold of that pole position, because Sam Gardner, the Johnsons, they may improve, and Sam Gardner goes top with a 45.4. But can Harrison Day ruin his day? We wait and see, and Harrison Day crosses the line, and no, he cannot. Just a little bit of traffic there, but I believe now Sam Gardner topping this session. That is such an incredible up of 45.4.
Yeah, of course, Lewis. Track evolution, I don't doubt, did play a role, especially with the changing weather conditions. So obviously we had a wetter track at the start of the session, and naturally as bikes go around the track surface does get drier. So there we have it. We have Sam Gardner from Harrison Day, from Byron Johnson, from Austin Johnson, from Matthew Thomas, Jensen Bishop, Liam Lindquist, Chloe Gleason, Oliver Hall, Callum Maxwell, George Ackerman and Dylan Tureen.
Yeah, it was a great qualifying session, a great session from Sam Gardner and Harrison Day, actually, both on the front row. So there's not too much in it, and there's not too much in lap time. 6,000 of a second separating them at the checker flag. That is an incredible lap. Race 1, it's gonna be close. There's multiple riders within a second. I mean, it could be anyone's race, really. Johnson brothers, we know during a race they can stick their fingers out, they can get their elbows out and go rubbing racing. But if you're new to FAB, welcome and welcome and thanks for joining us. You can see us on all social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, on the FAB-Racing Facebook page, and the Motorsport Radio Facebook page, and the Motorsport Radio YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us, and we are in for such a great weekend of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone in the top 5 could have a shout in this next race. So there it is for the Mini Moto Elites.
Yeah, now we have something completely different coming on track. And Dylan, this has been something that's interested you over the course of the whole weekend and all yesterday's practice. It is the Mini F1 sidecars. And Dylan, what do you think of this class?
Oh, the Mini F1 sidecars are very, very exciting, because it's not just one rider that you have to think about, it is 2 riders. The passenger does play an important role within the speed of a lap time, pretty much. So we'll have to see which team can work together the best to get the pole position today.
Yeah, and well, we've seen him practice. It was quite an eventful session, to be honest. Mick Williams actually spun and made a very rare mistake actually from Mick Williams, because usually we're seeing them dominating, but maybe now it's just the pressure slightly getting to them. Although they've done this for many years, maybe just seeing how close Green Street has been getting the past couple runs, it's forced them to find the extra 10th or 2 of a second, which, as we know in bike racing, as I said earlier, it's a knife edge even in these sidecars. As you can see, the passenger getting as close as they can to the ground and getting the whole body weight shifted over to the side that they want to get the bike turned from. I mean, it's such a teamwork sport, sidecar race, and it's one that involves a lot of trust.
Yeah, exactly. As we were just watching the Keats go through our picture, been a sidecar who's typically had some problems with stability, so it'll be interesting to see how they can do out there today. they were going to be racing these guys on screen, the Green Street boys in that blue number 90 car who we interviewed at the start of this broadcast. So it's going to be interesting to see which one of those teams can come out on top between the two. Typical rookies. They do have a GoPro on, I believe, so if you would like to see the replay of their lap, I believe you can find that on social media after the broadcast.
Yeah, and Sidecars, the thing that really interests me about this class is just the fact that these are all basically homemade. All the teams and riders have their own idea of what they think is going to be best, and you can just see that visually. I mean, Green Street it's a much more modern sidecar, while McWilliams is a far more old-fashioned. It's two-stroke as well, which you can hear the difference of whenever they're going around track. Green Street on your screen right now, it's a dark, deep tone, while the McWilliams, it's a whiny, high-pitched two-stroke, which is basically needing to get his neck ringed out really to get the best in it, while the Green Streets have slightly more revs, slightly more power, lower revs.
Yeah, well, we see John Hosker has gone out on track as well, so expect to see him on the timing tower.
Yeah, and John Hosker is brand new to the class, and it's his first race in the sidecars this year anyway. And yeah, it's another contender for McWilliams, and maybe someone from McWilliams to worry about. Can they end his streak? We're just have to wait and find out. But there on your screen right now is John Hosker, and I've actually been told a story about this sidecar, and it's the fact that apparently they found this sidecar basically in the bin and pulled it out the bin. The front fairings out the bin, it was covered in moss, it was basically destroyed, and then they said they're going to race with it, and well, as you can see on your screen, they are racing with it, and they've just got a bit of white tape and written 127 on it. So it's something definitely unusual, but I don't think it'll hold back in performance.
Yeah, no, exactly. He walked past us yesterday when we were conducting interviews, and it didn't look in great shape at all, but he has fitted it to his car now, so we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see how he does. Probably got some duct tape performance on it, so we'll have to see about that one.
Yeah, McWilliams definitely almost pretty much, maybe they spun over laughing at that. I mean, it's such an unusual thing, but it's one thing that shows the pure passion of sidecar racing in general, not just mini F1 sidecars, but the whole sidecar community. It's such a tight-knit community that just loves sidecar racing. It's a niche of a niche. And yeah, right now there's just 3 minutes left in this session with McWilliams on top, but only 1.5 seconds behind it is the Green Streets, their closest contender, with the Keats in third place. So the Keats will be pretty happy with that third place and be wanting to get more podiums across the weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 3 minutes and 17 seconds to go. Mick Williams does have P1 at the moment with a time of 45.735. Can the Green Streets,
Yeah, the Green Streets, they're going to be wanting just to push every single inch out of that sidecar. And it's coming to the point now where they're looking at every single part of this circuit and almost comparing themselves to McWilliams, which I think is something that everyone's having to do, and just trying to find a way to go faster, because this is racing and anything can happen. But on your screen right now is Vince Bailey. Vince Bailey is sitting in 5th place right now and only 4.4 seconds behind, so not too far behind. As we said, it's the same in the as the LC40. It's these track conditions are changing every lap. So for example, Vince Bailey, Mark Parker, riders and teams like that might just be taking a bit long to feel out the conditions, because these are on kart tyres, so it's slightly different. And yeah, it's going to be hopefully some clean, close racing, like what we like to see in the sidecar racing. There's been quite a lot of close racing, to be fair, in the practice sessions. So this track, it looks like it suits the sidecars.
Yeah, I'm expecting a pretty tight battle between the Green Streets and the Keats, but we shall see what will present itself within the race. But yeah, as you were saying about the track conditions, it's the hidden damp spots that are dangerous, because riders will go out there confident and ride as if it was dry. However, there will be the hidden patches which can cause many problems for riders out there. So we'll have to see. It could rain again for all we know, so yeah.
Yeah, rain's been intermittent all day. I mean, it looks like the rain is going away, and then suddenly it's just a massive downpour. So yeah, the track conditions are not what riders want. It's the worst conditions. It's slightly in between, but luckily with these bikes that we race here at FAB, they don't chew up the tyres. And there's Keats on your screen right now, the camouflage motorcycle. It's so easy to see, and they have such a great riding style. I mean, it's exciting for us. You can see the bike just chattering away, and right now they're still in third place, but they're doing consistent laps, and it's exactly what you want in these conditions, or maybe just feel it out. But there they are on two wheels. It's exactly what Keats is known for, and that is giving us some exciting racing and riding.
Yeah, I mean, we can see on this lap alone that the Green Streets have actually gained time on the Keats. They're quite close to each other on track, which is something that we're going to be expecting to see in the race as well. So it's the red sidecar and the blue sidecar in your picture now, which we will be watching as we go into the last minute of the session.
Yeah, the last minute now, and Green Streets have just set their personal best with 46.9. So can anyone rival McWilliams in this final minute? They're going to be giving absolutely everything. And the good thing is now, Jason Greenstreet does have a marker of Keats. They almost have a marker just to chase and brake. They'll see them brake and then maybe brake 5 or 10 metres closer to them, and then that is the way you want to do it. It's so much easier in these conditions. It's harder to lead, and for example in the races, it's one thing that Williams will have to be worrying about. But just 15 seconds left in this session. Will Green Streets or Keats or Mark Parker make a difference? We look towards the line as they break the timing beam. Will they go faster as we wait? They're going to get another lap at this actually. Keats has got another lap, and Green Street, as they never set their fastest lap that time round, but now they have one more lap. Can they do anything?
Yeah, no, the Keats have bailed out on a final lap, but the Green Streets seem to be pushing because, well, I mean, you could argue that the Green Streets have just held up, the Keats have just held up the Green Streets during their flying laps. So this is their first lap with clean air. Can they improve and get P2 to cement their place in second?
Yeah, and right now you can just see them going around the left-hander. They have a knee slider on the back of their levers, and that allows them just to get their bottom down and then just slide along the ground just to get as much body weight leaned across and get the bike turned as best as possible. But they go towards the line for the final time in this session, and they do not improve. So it's McWilliams who's going to be on pole position, which may not surprise some, but this is racing at such changeable conditions here. So can anyone rival them?
Yeah, exactly. As you said, it could rain later on, so we could have an interesting race between the top three. Who knows? Could Mark Parker perhaps trouble these guys as well? So yeah, there we have it for Mick Williams from Jason Greenstreet, from Jacob Keats, from Mark Parker, Vince Bailey from John Hosker.
Yeah, McWilliams, that session only set 4 laps, so they just done what they needed and went back into the pits. Or maybe it could even potentially be a problem. I mean, these sidecars, they are so fiddly, especially the 2-strokes. Every single little thing, it can just cause them to be down on power or out the power band slightly. And whenever you have that, it's so difficult to ride it and so difficult to have confidence in the motorcycle.
But it's an assured 1.5 second lead for Mick Williams over the Green Street boys.
Yeah, it certainly is, and on your screen you can see it. It is the senior mini motos, and these are big riders, little bikes.
Yeah, so welcome everyone to the senior mini moto. This is qualifying 2, I believe, and we're about to see where they can qualify.
Yeah, this class, it's usually such a big class, and it's one where we see elbows bashing throughout the whole race. Will Howarth, of course, usually racing, and he's back in the senior mini motos this weekend. So can Will Howarth keep up his dominant fashion from last round? I mean, he's already had some track time. He has double the track time, so there's slightly more knowledge on the riders of what track conditions are actually like.
Yeah, no, obviously to the layperson, they are probably used to seeing adults ride bigger motorcycles. So yeah, this series definitely provides a challenge for, well, let's say larger people, because at the end of the day, these bikes are typically created for children. So we'll have to wait and see if any challenges present themselves.
Yeah, it's so difficult to get yourself tucked in, and with the smaller riders, you can usually see them just tucking their legs, tucking their knees, tucking absolutely everything. But with the adults, it's so difficult to do it. I mean, you can see Will Howarth, and he's got his right leg tucked in, but he struggles basically to get both of them tucked in because the bike is so small and he is so tall. And basically it just means they have to push extra hard in the corners because they can't make up that deficit in a straight line, because there is some smaller riders here. You can race in this class even whenever you're 17, 18-year-old, when you sometimes you can be slightly smaller, maybe even slightly slimmer, so it's easier for them to gain advantage in a straight line, which really means for people like Will Howarth and the Birkin brothers, it's far more difficult, and they have to push far more.
Yeah, as we just watched Craig Ashall, who we interviewed at the beginning of this broadcast, said he was very comfortable with his time around here, said he wasn't the biggest fan of the circuit, but he is performing well, which is exactly what he needs to do to get pole position. So he has currently got a 43.074 as Josh Birkin qualifies second with a 43.881.
Yeah, the Birkin brothers are back, and they're back for vengeance, but it's Will Howarth actually in third place right now. Will Howarth, he's not known for being in third place, but yeah, I believe there's only 5 minutes left of this session, so it's really going to be a question of what's going to happen. But there is one of the Birkin brothers, that is Matt Birkins, having a slight issue of his motorcycle. These are two-stroke mini motos, and two-strokes are notoriously unreliable, especially in these changeable conditions with the carburetors.
Yeah, as we see a group of 5 going into the hairpin now, not going to be great for clean air, as one might say. However, we do have 5 minutes left to go, so we should see these guys prove themselves and qualify.
Yeah, Rhys Gentry actually in the orange and black levers. He had a moment this morning at turn 1 at the fast left kink, and it was one which I thought he may have even saved, like Marc Marquez. He held on to that mini moto for his dear life pretty much and tried to stay on it. So it was it was almost an incredible save. He tried to save it so much that he ended up on the other side of the track. So yeah, it was a great effort from Rhys Gentry, and currently sits in 6th place, not too far behind Craig Ashall, which is set at 42.9.
So Lewis, could you tell us about your own racing career?
Yeah, well, I raced myself, and from racing myself up in Scotland especially, where weather's not always on our side, we're known to have these changeable conditions, and these are the worst conditions for the riders. I myself love these types of conditions because I almost just forget about it, put it to the back of my mind, and able to race. I just raced on a 300 and basically just like club racing level, so nothing too high level, but it's still great fun, and that is why all these adults as well are going racing here, because they love it and it's fun. And we all here actually because we love racing and want to support racing, want to support the up and coming riders of the future, because I myself, if I was racing this championship, I would want the involvement and the support that this championship gets. It's great to see, and it's great for even people watching at home. It's thinking, I want to get my son involved in this, or your daughter. Go over to the FAB-Racing website and check it out. You can check out where to purchase motorcycles, where the race dates are. You can get tuition, and there's so many people here in the paddock that can help you out. But in the back of the picture, actually, I just seen Matt Birkins, and it looks like he couldn't get the bike going again. So slight disaster for him currently in 4th place. So if he can stay in 4th place, I don't think he would be too disappointed considering he's having mechanicals. But he would obviously want in that front row of the grid, because it's still Craig Ashall who sits there, but Will Howarth is just behind, 1/10 behind in fact. So Will Howarth in these closing moments, just 3 minutes left, can he do anything?
Yeah, exactly. Changeable conditions, as I said earlier on. Who knows what can happen in this final few minutes of the session. We have got 2 minutes and 56 seconds left of this session, and as you saw a minute ago, these bikes can be temperamental. So will everyone out there get to finish the session, or will we see a few DNFs?
Yeah, all of these bikes running carburetors which have something inside them that are called jets, which basically just suck in the air and pump the fuel around, and whenever that's slightly off with these changeable conditions and air pressures and temperatures change, sometimes it can throw the bike off and throw the performance off, and sometimes it can't even run. They're so fiddly, and they're one thing which many riders hate and love at the same time, because whenever these bikes are running, they are running so sweet. And there's Will Howarth. Can he do anything? 2 minutes left in the session. Will Howarth, his bike has been singing all year, just like his Moto team bikes. Will Howarth knows how to run a two-stroke and knows how to ride one, because it's such a hard riding style. You have to really keep up the revs. And Shannon King on your screen, another female rider. It's so great to see so much female riders, with of course the FHO. Another rider which usually is here in this class is of course Holly Harris, one of our many British Talent Cup riders who I do not believe is out in this session. So it's great seeing so many female riders, and with involvement from the FHO team, it's really brought more in. But here is Will Howarth as he comes to the end of his lap, just 1 minute and 40 seconds left. What will he do? And he sets a personal best of a 42.9, so just 24 thousandths of a second off Craig Ashall.
Yeah, Lewis, this one's definitely going to go down to the wire. 24 hundredths is such a small margin that we really could see him have a go at pole position here, as we watch Craig Ashall down into the hairpin, getting very close with another rider there. But yeah, here we have Will Howarth not too far behind at all. These laps are so crucial for these riders regarding their starting positions in the race, and obviously is this lap going to be pole for Will Howarth? We have got to wait and see. What do you think will happen, Lewis?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. You cannot predict it in the senior mini moto class. Anything can happen. He cracks on the throttle as hard as he can. He crosses the line, and what will he get is it's not a personal best. It's not a fastest lap, but he may just be building, as he did hit some traffic in that lap, although they tried to get out of the way as best as possible. It's such a tight track for these small bikes. Even though they're small bikes, it's such big riders that it's so difficult to get past them and get out everyone's way. So there in your screen, it's Will Howarth and Craig Ashall in front of him. But Craig Ashall, he's going to be wanting to try and keep that pole position, but he lets Will Howarth pass. So Will Howarth, open track space, open track in front of him. He can see exactly where he needs to go. He may have a rider to chase in front of him at just 19 seconds left.
Bear in mind, both of these riders will get another lap if they get to the line in time. As they go down the start-finish straight now, what laps can they set? Will Howarth crosses the line to go P1 with a 42.968. Great lap for Will Howarth ahead of Craig Ashall.
Yeah, Craig Ashall, what will he do? Can he respond? Will Howarth, though, he's absolutely on it once again. On this lap, you've seen him, he's just trying as hard as he can, he's pushing as hard as he can. You can physically see it. It's one thing I love about bike racing, you can see from the riding styles how hard they are pushing, but this is Q2, this is qualifying 2, the qualifying 1 and 2 results get merged to decide your starting position for all 3 races here at FAB, but checker flag is waving. It's the final moment, and Will Howarth has went top with a 42.9. What an incredible lap from Will Howarth, but actually it doesn't say there's a gap between Will Howarth and Craig Ashall, so I believe they're actually tied on lap time, which is something that is just incredible.
That is phenomenal. I'm not sure we're going to have to see what happened there, but we can confirm that Will Howarth has got P1 in this session, followed by Craig Ashall, Josh Birkin, Matt Birkin, Chris Yeomans, Rhys Gentry, Nick Bennett, Callum White, Ross Michael and Lamar Morgan.
Yeah, great session there, and it was a close, tight session. What we usually seeing from mini moto sessions, but actually just checking live timing, and yeah, Will Howarth and Craig Ashall have both set a 42.968. So that is something that is absolutely incredible. There was nothing between them.
Wow.
So the qualifying 1 result may really count here, as of course, as I said, they get merged into 1. So now, who will be starting in pole position for the senior mini moto class? We don't know just yet, because that was an incredible session.
Absolutely. As we prepare for the Mini GP 50 Championship, we see the lads on their bikes now, ready to leave the pit lane.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for these riders to head out on track for what is the premier class of FAB-Racing, because this is the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 British Championship. This is the peak class at FAB-Racing. This is the final step before riders usually go into such as the British Talent Cup. At one point we did have about 60% of the British Talent Cup grid made out of FAB graduate riders, so it's just showing that these bikes and this system is working for them. They teach them so much, and well, Dylan, you've watched them and they're so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. This is certainly can be considered the main event here today with our qualifying 2 coverage. We do have a race later on as well, which is what they are working towards now. But yeah, we shall see who can qualify on the pole position.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the riders just to do a couple laps, feel out the conditions, because they've not been out since their qualifying 1 sessions, which was before a short lunch break, a short 50-minute lunch break. So really now it's just for the riders to feel out the conditions, feel out the bikes, because they may have changed some settings with the suspension, maybe trying maybe some dry tyres and pushing as hard as they can. They set the first couple laps Daniel Munson currently leads away with a 44.3, but I am sure that will drop because there's still 6 minutes left. The riders are still feeling out their condition.
Yeah, I was about to mention that Marco Holt is using his qualifying fairing, a fairing that he has removed from the bike for the practice sessions, but it is on the bottom of his bike now, so they have fitted it back on, and I believe that is the case with another few riders as well. So earlier on, I believe for the last practice session that these guys attended was a very wet session, so it is going to take them time to adjust to the new conditions. So we will have to see who can set the fastest time on the changing track conditions.
Yeah, and the changing weather conditions, because right now it is pouring it down outside. Actually, it is really wet. So the riders, this is not just mental rain, this is full-blown rain, this is real rain, this is the stuff that makes the track slippy. So it's going to be a real test. Have the riders went on dry tyres, or maybe just get 1 or 2 laps in before this downpour came, or have they been safe and wet on the wet tyres?
Yeah, but Lewis, also consider the fact that if it starts raining hard here, the riders who have completed their laps could be on pole here, because they may have set a faster time on the dry track.
Yeah, it really matters what tyres they're on, and you can just see a lot of these riders are actually on the dry tyres because they're struggling just to make it around this track right now. So it really depends if you've tried and just been safe, or if you've risked it all out. We're going to see. I would personally pull in the pits right now as Ethan Sparks comes round to go into the pit lane. Yeah, it's really wet out there, and it's just completely messed up his qualifying session for the riders. So could Samuel Munson be on pole position from his first lap?
Absolutely, Lewis. This could be a very interesting session, because the wetter track is going to be completely different. So what can they do on the wet tyres in a minute? Can they go quicker than Samuel Munson's dry time?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. But of course, these riders do have a Q1 session, so it's really going to be a test of if that Q1 session was faster. And right now, actually, it was faster, because Henry McCartney, I believe, would be on pole position, because in Q1 he set a 43.6. So right now, I believe the top, it would put Samuel Munson down to 4th place from the Q1 time. So the Q1 time's just proven that they really do matter, unless if right now the riders can, like Harry Payne, go on some wet tyres and then try and put an incredible lap. But it's going to be so difficult. But anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't count anyone out yet. But we are going to see some of the riders pushing towards the end of the session to squeeze as much performance out of their wet tyres as they possibly can. So we could see some incidents in this qualifying session. It's all to come.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Harry Payne, he's been through a tough couple of rounds, and here he is fighting in his championship and just putting in the laps and feeling out conditions before he tries and push. Harry Payne, of course, had a big crash at round 2 at Clandell at the final couple of corners, at the final corner, and the bike was destroyed, the levers was destroyed, the helmet was destroyed. It was such a big incident. But like we've seen in the past, the racing community really pulls together, and now he's back on track with a fixed bike, new levers, new helmet, and he's pushing, and he's trying just to get his confidence back up, which may take a little while, but right now he is looking great. I mean, it's so brave for such a young rider.
Oh, absolutely. As we've got 2 minutes and 52 seconds to go in this session, the riders out there are going to have to find the driest line possible. Where it's an uneven track surface in some areas, we will have some puddles forming, especially across the kink at turn 1, where we do have a new bit of tarmac, which gets very, very slippery for these guys. So we've been seeing them lift around the outside, just like we're seeing there on screen. So can anyone make an improvement?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but one person I do want to mention right now is Luke Fitchett. Luke Fitchett currently, his best lap was a 50.9. So Luke Fitchett, it was a pretty good lap time considering of the conditions. But in the Q1 session, he was 11th place with 42.7. So Luke Fitchett could potentially be starting at the back of the grid, unless if he can set a better his lap time and better the lap time in his condition, which is going to be so brave if he can. I mean, riders right now and the mechanics will be frantically working. They're going to be wanting to try and get his tyre changed and just try. I mean, there's 1 minute and 50 seconds left, so it's going to be a tough one if you can get back out on track. But this is why we race. I mean, it's a test of the riders, the bikes, and the mechanics. So if anyone could do it, I'm sure it's some of the passionate parents, as we see. Like, I'm sure Marco Holt's dad will be frantically working, and so will everyone. So will the whole Vision Track squad. And yeah, it's going to be a real weight. But Ruben Bray also on track right now, 8th in Q1, which is pretty respectable, to be honest. It's such a quick class, and currently 8th in this session as well, just putting in the laps, 7 laps put in so far. Actually,
the rider that's put in the most laps is Ruben Bray. So he's just staying out there, feeling the conditions with just 1 minute and 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, no, an excellently good idea from Ruben Bray if we're going to have a wet race. I think one thing's for certain is we're going to have a really, really eventful race with these guys because we're going to have a mixed up grid. The weather conditions are also going to be mixed up. We've constantly got shower from dry. So what can happen?
Yeah, who knows? And there's the Vision Track tents right now. I assume in the garage right now they'll be changing tires as fast as they can. They'll be looking at live time and seeing there's only 41 seconds left, so it's too late now to set a lap time, but they could potentially get them out there and then just do one lap just to feel maybe a practice start, which some of these riders, they may have not started the 70 in the wet yet, because we've had incredible conditions actually so far this year. I was commenting to some people before the weekend saying that we've had lovely conditions. We've been so lucky. It's just been sunshine after sunshine. It's been perfect weather conditions almost. Last year a little bit windy but still warm, and now we come here and, well, it's wet.
Yeah, we have 10 seconds to go of the session, so the expected provisional grid based on P1, take it away, Lewis.
Yeah, I believe it should be Henry McCartney on pole position with Ethan Sparks starting alongside him, Marco Holt third, and fourth place should be Samuel Munson because it's a 44.9 that he put in. Ronnie Harris a 45.3 in Q1 and should be starting in fifth place with. So yeah, it's one thing that is so challenging. It's to work out where these riders can be starting. But yeah, I believe it should be Henry McCartney starting pole position with Ethan Sparks, the reigning champion, alongside them. But riders are just starting to come round, and Henry McCartney too late to come out with his qualifying fairing on, of course, because some of these riders, they know that qualifying is the time where you have to get absolutely everything out of the bike for one lap. So falls can happen, and they just don't want to mess up their fairings. Behind him as well, we have Ollie Sims trying as hard as can, but they've came it too late. Checker flag is out. They cannot improve. But what a dramatic qualifying session.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely a session where going out early on has been brilliant for the likes of Samuel Munson, Henry McCartney, Blake Wilson. So yeah, very unpredictable. No one could have predicted the rain coming, but stay tuned for our race later on today.
Yes, certainly. It's the peak of racing in the mini bike championships in the UK. But Blake Wilson had a fall earlier today as well, quite a big fall, but so it's great to see him back out there. And, well, in the wet conditions earlier, he was looking so confident. I mean, it is great to see such young riders with so much confidence in their motorcycle and in their tyres, because it's one thing it takes many years to trust. But now the bikes are starting to line up in the Holden era. It is the Pit Bike 140s. It is a crazy class.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have to see who can perform best in the pit bikes. If you have never watched the pit bikes before, you are definitely in for a treat here. One of the most interesting categories that we do here at FAB-Racing for sure. We have a huge grid, don't we, really? So we're going to have to see which rider on this huge grid can qualify on pole position.
Yeah, and some riders actually with these conditions may not even go out. They may not have tires changed in time. And I've actually known some riders in the past of not going out at all in the wet. Some riders despise the wet because it's so easy to make a mistake, and some riders as well in the wet prefer just to go out of cold tires, because you can't just go out on cold tires. It's not like slicks where the tires need to be nice and warm for them to basically almost melt into the tarmac. But in this class, there's so many people to watch out for. I mean, Taylor Lawrence, Lucas Brown, and Rossi Banham are the main contenders, with Reese Peacock as well up there. There's so many riders that are at the front, and there's nothing separating them, and they have so much respect for each other, but it's such hard racing.
Yeah, no, Taylor Lawrence just going through a shot there in the bright green RST overalls. He called himself Shrek in the paddock yesterday. I was talking to him, and yeah, no, he believes that he can score some good results this weekend, so definitely one to watch out for.
Yeah, you cannot miss him at all. It is such bright levers, and more riders making the way on track, checking behind them, checking that no one is coming on the start-finish straight, that they could potentially be a collision. So luckily, all riders using their head, just being careful. But Lucas Brown leads the way, but only one lap put in so far from him, so it's a 48.9. but it's going to be a real test as the session develops, because I believe the rain is off now, so I think it's just going to be a case of all day these short intermittent showers, but when the rain does come, it's coming heavy, so it's really going to be a chance on these riders just to learn their skills and feel out track conditions, because this could be exactly like the race for the track conditions.
Yeah, no, I was just about to point out that Rossi Banham hasn't actually gone out to the track yet, as we have had a crash on the broadcast. Taylor Lawrence
just gone quickest in this session. He's down on the deck. He's trying to get the bike restarted. These bikes, of course, are kick starts, so it can be sometimes quite hard to get the compression to actually get started. So there he is, and it's got started back up again, so he will get the bike rerunning. His fastest lap is a 45.5 so far, but it's just 5 minutes to go in the session. Taylor Lawrence, will he stay out or will he pit? Because obviously in Fab, you can just pick up your bike as long as you're okay and you've checked the bike's okay. You can just go out and keep doing laps.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good lap from Taylor Lawrence, but Leo Cornfield has just put in a faster lap of a 44.293, as we see Sean Whittaker also go up in P2. So Taylor Lawrence being knocked down to 4th now by Lucas Brown. So can Taylor Lawrence get back on that bike, regain his confidence and have another shot at the pole position? We shall wait and see.
Yeah, and these riders right now not far off the Q1 times. I mean, Leo Cornfield right now is fastest lap is a 44.2, while in the Q1 session the fastest lap was a 44 flat. So currently it'll put Leo in second position on the front row from the session. So it just shows how fast this track dries and how fast these tyres heat up to grip and be able to produce the lap times to get on the front row.
Yeah, no, it appears we are still missing Rossi Banham, so it's a mystery as to where he is.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Rossi Banham, a main contender for this series and for this championship. We always see close race, but Rossi Banham maybe deciding that the track will not be dry enough for him to better his lap time, because of course in the Q1 session Rossi Banham was in 4th place with a respectable 45, but there is Ryan Tears went on pole position actually with a 43.9. That's the fastest lap of the weekend so far. So the Q1 times are now starting to get broken. There's Bobby King actually in second place as well with a 44.2. So riders really now starting to get the lap times down, as that will put Bobby in second position.
Yeah, with the sheer size of this grid, it's really difficult to gauge who is where, because riders are constantly crossing across the line. So it's not over until the final flag is waved. So Sean Whittaker up in P1 at the moment, the number 12 with a 43.009. Lucas Brown in second, Ryan Tears in third. Ryan Tears goes P1 as I'm saying that.
Yeah, right now actually Ryan Hitchcock would say it was the fastest in the Q1 session with 44 flat, and now we're over a second faster, almost a second and a half faster than that Q1 session. So it's just showing how fast these riders are, as we see Ryan Tyres is still at the top of the timesheet, just 3 tenths behind though Sean Whittaker. So Sean, he will not be holding, and neither will anyone else. I mean, Lucas Brown's a Talent Cup rider. He's raced in heavily wet conditions actually at Knockhill at the British Superbikes in the British Talent Cup, so this is his time just to show himself, as Simon Gates goes third, but Ryan Hitchcock goes top, and then Ryan Tyres takes it once again to with a 41.7. The riders now pushing on. It's great to see.
Yeah, just over 2 minutes left to go. Who can get that pole position? It could be anyone that you can see on your timing tower. Who knows? We've got Ryan Tyres at the top at the moment, from Ryan Hitchcock, from Reese Peacock, and Taylor Lawrence back up in P4 after his full. So who can take the pole position here? It remains to be seen, as we see. I don't know what's going on. There's so much going on, Lewis.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, in this qualifying session, there's so much that happens, and there's so little time to get your lap times in. So look at the track already. The track, that is pretty dry, to be honest. And it shows how great its surface is. It drying so quick, because this is not the first time it's rained. As Ryan Tyres once again betters his lap time with a 40.9. We're down to 40 seconds. That's 4 seconds faster almost than the Q1 times. So the riders pushing on so far now, and it's really the time where they were going to see it drop, because it's just 1 minute and 40 seconds left. So now it's the time where riders are putting in their final lap times, as Stuart Hardman goes second with a 40.666, 6 tenths behind Ryan Tyres. So the Q1 times almost seem just to be thrown out the window, but Rossi Banham is now out on the track with 8th place, and he's currently got 1 lap, but there's 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. Can Ryan Tyers stay top, because he's set a 40.8?
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal from every rider out on track right now, always better than themselves, but who can snatch it within the final minute of this qualifying session? Who knows? We're going to have to see who can get to pole position as Rossi Banham goes first.
Yeah, Rossi Banham, he's out on the track. He's realised that the track is ready, and the track is ready to set these faster lap times in the blue and pink and white levers. He's so easy to see on the track for us commentators. There he is diving down the inside of Ryan Tyers. So he's sat behind Ryan Tyers actually, and then got a great benchmarker, but just 40 seconds left to go. Rossi Banham, me flat on the floor. He's pushed as hard as he can, but Ryan Hitchcock now goes top with a 40.7. These times are the ones that decide the grid, because the Q1 times, they're out the window. These are the better, but can Rossi Banham better his time? He goes towards the line, and we wait, and he breaks the time with a 40.1.
Wow.
6/10 faster. Rossi Banham is absolutely on it. Just 3 laps he's put in the session, but now he's going to make it 4th. He's still pushing. He has Taylor Lawrence in front of him, but Taylor Lawrence moves out the way. These bikes are so loud out on track, and it's one that the riders can really hear if someone's behind them.
As the checker flag has just been waved as we've been speaking, Rossi Banham still on 1 more lap. Can he improve on his current time? It would be phenomenal if he could, with a 4/10 lead over Ryan Tyers already. As he rounds the final corner, can he get a good exit? Can he beat his current time? He comes across the line, and it's a 40.173, still 4/10 quicker than Ryan Tyers, but it's a P1 regardless for Rossi Banham.
Yeah, about 300ths of a second slower than his fastest lap. So Rossi Banham putting in 4 extremely fast laps, and definitely one to look out for. But these conditions, they're so changeable, and the extra experience that he has had from British Championship, it's helped him, and it's helped him really progress his skills. And there's doing a wheelie, celebrating. He is buzzing. He knows he's set 4 lap times, and every single one has just been frankly incredible. Take a bow, Rossi. But Ryan Tyers and Lucas Brown and Ryan Hitchcock and Reece Peacock actually at top 5, they're all to look out for. And Taylor Lawrence in 7th place. I mean, he did have that fall, so it may have knocked his confidence slightly, so he's definitely not one to count out. I mean, this race, once again, it looks like it's going to be an incredible race.
Yeah, Taylor Lawrence is certainly going to want to come back from that one and try and regain his confidence for the race. So thank you for joining us for the
qualifying sessions here today. And right now the riders just building up in the holding area for what will be our first race of the day, because this is the AC40 Pro race one of the weekend actually. So all the riders, it's their first time that could be starting at this track. I mean, there's going to be 1 warm-up lap for these riders, so it's 1 warm-up lap really just to feel out the conditions and then feel where they're going to break into turn 1, and things like that is things that can change on lap to lap, even in the races. And following riders, it may be extremely difficult for these bikes. Maybe a tiny bit of spray, which may just get in your visor and distract you a little bit. Some riders obviously prefer to run tinted visors, while others prefer to run clear. It's all just personal preference. And yeah, we just wait for the riders to build up, and we wait for the tension to build up for what should be a great race.
Yeah, exactly. This is where the fun begins, one might say. As we go into our first race of the weekend, this is where we're going to see our riders battling close and actually going for position, so not just lap times.
Yeah, so hello if you're just joining us. This is race 1. You've joined us just in time for the first race of the weekend, because this is the AC40 Pros. This is the middle class. These are the middle class for the mini motos, and the ones where the riders really start to progress. And really, once they've learned their racecraft in the rookies class, they come here and then they battle all out. These are all air-cooled motorcycles, so it's all fair game. There's no bike difference. It's the rider that makes a difference, and that's one thing that's always really been seen in bike racing. It is the rider that makes a difference, and even if you're on a slightly worse bike, the rider can make a difference. And in these conditions, it's all going to be about confidence.
Yeah, I was just about to mention the fact that we did just have a spout of rain, but who knows, we're going to have to see who can come out on top during this race. Will there be some more changeable conditions that could affect how the riders approach this race?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, these are the riders of the future. This is, of course, a Road to MotoGP series. Let's wait for these riders to head out onto the track. It's been a great season so far in the pros. Byron Johnson leads by an incredible 88 points from Sam Gardner, and Harrison Day being in third place respectively. Of course, after having that off towards the start of the season, he's bounced back, and he's bounced back faster than ever. So we just wait for these riders to line up on the grid. The tensions will be rising with these riders, and we're in for what's going to be an action-packed race, because these splits that, as you mentioned, Dylan, once they get in your visor, it can start to play with your head.
Yeah, exactly. They might be more cautious into turn one, but we might have the riders who attack turn one more. Who knows? What's the weather going to do? Halfway through the season, this is important for all the youngsters out on track, and obviously they are just youngsters. We're going to have to see how the weather affects their mindset here today. So, fingers crossed it can all go cleanly.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's so much changeable conditions, and there's quite a wind actually. You can see some from some of the high vises there. The wind just catch it slightly, so it may be helping dry the track. But on these smaller mini motorbikes we've talked about over the course of the season, especially last rounds, the wind can highly affect these riders and highly affect these bikes because there's so little weight. But these riders will go out for their one sighting lap, and really just before they end up on the grid and they're alone, and it's time to go racing.
Yeah, into turn one, we'll definitely be seeing the riders who maybe opt for a more conservative approach to the race, as we see them going out for their warm-up lap now. And the track doesn't look too damp at all. As Lewis, you can give a good rundown.
Yeah, Lewis Hull will be starting on pole position with Harrison Day rounding off the front row in second. Sam Gardner will be starting in third with Matthew Thomas alongside him. As there's a rider down, and I believe that is Sam Gardner down in the warm-up lap. So it just shows how tricky these conditions are. He tries to get started and tries to get himself back on the grid, because he should be starting in third position, as I was saying, and he's got a bike started, but Matthew Thomas will be starting alongside him, and there's another rider down there. It's starting to rain once again, so some of these riders, it might just be catching them out slightly. Tyres not warm at all, and down they go. Jensen Bishop will be starting in fifth with Byron Johnson in sixth. Liam Lindquist on the Yamaha replica MotoGP bike will be starting seventh with Chloe Gleason, one of our female riders, in eighth. Oliver Hall, last year's rookie champion, will be starting in ninth with George Ackerman in 10th. Dylan Tureen will be starting in 11th with Rex Austin in 12th. Callum Maxwell 13th, and on your screen it is heavy.
Yeah, no, the heavens have just opened, so we're going to have a very, very exciting start to this race. Will they be conservative into turn one? Will they really go for it, as we see one of the dads of one of the riders warming up the rear tyres? So, it's all to play for. This is going to be chaos.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. It's tricky conditions for these young riders. Some of them may have very little experience in the rain, and there's another rider down, Dylan Tureen. It is not what these riders want, and it's going to delay the start slightly. I'd assume Dylan Tureen waiting to get up, and he just has no clue what has happened there. In these conditions, it's so easy just to make a slight mistake. One grab of the brake lever and you're down, and it's such a fine line, and it's on these tyres. It's one thing that they're on. Well, it looks like actually on dry tyres, so it may just be the fact that the rain has opened last minute, so some of these riders may have been preparing for a far more dry race. But Dylan Tureen, he has no clue what's happened, and some of these riders just waiting and having no clue what's happening right now, waiting on the grid.
Yeah, he had very high hopes into this weekend. If he doesn't get round on time, he could be disqualified, so we're going to have to see if he can get to the grid in time. The number 88 bike of Dylan Tureen. So will the start be delayed a little bit, or we look to be good to go?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait, and we're just going to wait and see. Discussions are happening on the grid. Communications from all the marshals are happening right now. We can expect it's going to be an exciting race. This is going to be a race of just staying on the bike. It's going to be so tricky for these riders, but we wait for the final bikes to head to the grid.
Yeah, Sam did get back into third on the grid, which was good for him. Definitely not what you want to see, though, falling off on the formation lap, especially from a rider like himself. So we're going to have to see. There might be some oil and fuel on the track, so the start may be delayed ever so slightly.
Yeah, there's Roger Keys, of course, the man that runs this series and keeps everyone safe, so it's better to be safe than sorry, because in these wet conditions, if there is some sort of fluid on the track, it is 20 times worse, and it's so hard to even see it. So it's so hard for these riders to see where they need to go and where they need to go to be safe. So it's better to be safe than sorry in motorcycle racing, because of course this can be quite a dangerous sport. So riders just doing the final check, and marshals and dads running out to the circuit just to have a little final check.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're certainly in for an interesting start, that's for sure.
Yeah, we certainly are, and this class has been close all year, although the championship stands may say slightly different. And there's Roger sprinting, actually. Roger, it's way out there and he does not want to be there, but Roger, he's been running the series for quite a while now. He's still doing an amazing job, and here he is just checking and using his years of experience to basically see if there's anything on track and if it's safe to run, because Roger, he does such a great job. And one of the cameramen there who takes photos for the riders, Dale Baldwin, of course, who took some incredible photos last round, actually. My favourite, of course, being Sullivan Mounce's save that he made in practice. So Roger Key's having a quick little check to see if the oil is a hazard.
Yeah, the rain isn't incredibly heavy though, Lewis. What you'll find is this light rain settles on the surface of the road and it makes it very, very slick, so it's difficult to prepare for an unseen turn on these bikes in these conditions. So who can make the best of the situation?
Yeah, it's what it's going to have to be about. Roger Keys heads back to the timing office and we just wait to find out. So Roger, he does a great job, as we said, but he's not sprinting this time. He's already done his run, so now he's just getting back and going to have a little discussion with other people in the timing office and the timing box, which provide us with such great timing systems here, such accurate timing systems, which will allow us to get, like we've seen in senior mini motos, identical lap times.
Yeah, he's going to have some wet shoes as well walking over that grass, especially after the weather that we have just had. But the grid should be ready soon. We're just waiting for a decision whether or not to start the race. So Roger is just walking back now to make his decision.
Yeah, we'll find out in just a moment's time, and we're expecting this to be such a great race. And these riders have been sitting on the grid for so long, so maybe now the nerves might just be getting to some of them, because some riders hate waiting on the grid. I personally was one of those riders that hates waiting on the grid. I like to be the last person there, so it's less time to think and then you just go.
So here we are on the grid for the start of the race. The track seems to be set.
Yeah, the track's ready and the riders are ready and the bikes are ready. So we just wait to get one final decision on what's going to happen. And we're just getting word from race control right now that we will have 2 warm-up laps. So these riders will just get a bit more chance to get the tyres warmed up, which really counts, and be able to feel out the conditions before they go out for the all-important start.
Yeah, no, it's very important, especially on these little bikes, to have a couple runs around the surface of the track, because it's good for them to have a feel, have a warm-up of their tyres as well, because starting a race like this on cold tyres would end up with however many mini motorbikes in the runoff of turn 1. So yeah, warming up the tyres is certainly the way to go.
Yeah, and some of these riders may have just been told by their parents just to take it easy, especially on these warm-up laps, and try not to ride the motorcycle like it's dry. It's such an easy and common mistake to make, and once you try and do that and just try to be so aggressive and tell the bike what to do, you're down on the deck, and there is a rider down on the deck once again. And yeah, it's such tricky conditions, and we're seeing in these warm-up laps it's so hard to stay on 2 wheels. So yeah, we're just waiting for these 2 warm-up laps to be done before we go racing, and it's really going to be a question of who feels the most confident in these conditions. But as we mentioned earlier, it is Lewis Hull on pole position with a 45.719, with Harrison Day alongside him on the front row. Sam Gardner, which has had quite an eventful start already, will be starting in 3rd, with Matthew Thomas in the bright green bike will be starting 4th. Jensen Bishop will be in 5th, with Byron Johnson, one of the Johnson brothers. Of course, Austin racing in the elites, is not racing in the pros like Byron. Byron will be starting 6th, and that's Chloe Gleason on your screen right now that has made a mistake on the warm-up lap, so it's still really tricky conditions. But Liam Lindquist will be starting 7th, with Chloe Gleason should be starting in 8th place. Oliver Hall, last year's rookie champion, in 9th, with George Ackerman in 10th. Dylan Tureen will be starting 11th, with Rex Austin alongside him, and Callum Maxwell rounds off the grid in 13th position.
Yeah, it comes back to the argument that I proposed a minute ago. Would these riders take more? That's a moment Byron Johnson. Yeah. Would these riders take more care if the road surface was wetter? Are they perhaps perhaps too confident because it doesn't look overly wet. We're going to have to wait and see, but if there's this much chaos on the warm-up lap, what are we in for this race?
Well, we just have to wait and see. And one tricky aspect of this track will also be the middle joint in the tarmac. That is extremely slippy. And there's the riders with their dads and just trying to warm up their rear tyre as much as possible. Josh Day giving a pat on the head to Harrison Day's son. And we wait for these riders. Tension is building. They're waiting for final checks to be done. And then we wait for the iconic point to the lights, where the lights will go on and stay on for a random amount of time, go off, and we go racing for the first time. We're just waiting for the final checks to be done, the last communications to be done, the final checks of everyone off the grid. We wait for the points to the lights. Before then, we will go racing. The point to the light is done. We wait for the lights to go on. Lights are on. And lights are off, and we are racing. The riders kick off the line. It's Harrison Day basically start, but Sam Gardner going round the outside and then to the inside of Harrison Day and leads the way in this first lap. Great start from Sam Gardner. That fall on the warm-up lap has not affected him, but Sam Gardner leads the way with Harrison Day just behind him. It's a great start as well from Matthew Thomas, who is in 4th position. But right now, it's the all-important start. Who can stay on and stay in contention? Liam Lindquist, a great start, but Byron Johnson is still there. He's dropped down 6th place, so what will he be able to do?
Yeah, an absolutely phenomenal start from Sam Gardner. He got the launch that he needed down the inside into turn 1 to take the lead. So leading the race now, will the riders behind challenge him in the rest of this race, or will he be able to check out and win comfortably? We're going to have to wait and see on that one, but all riders seem to have got through okay. A pretty clean start for everyone out there. No one has had an incident yet on this very, very damp racetrack.
Yeah, these are strange conditions because you have to ride relaxed, but at the same time you have to ride with alert. It is so tricky to get it right. You have to be fast, you have to be flowing, and you have to be smooth. You can't be too aggressive with the motorcycle. But Sam Gardner leads the way, and across the line it was just 0.2 of a second gap over Harrison Day. There's nothing in it. This group of 4 that is forming right now looks to be the contention for the whole podium and for the race, when Matthew Thomas lurking behind him 4th place on that bright green bright. It's so easy to tell who is who. Lewis Hull, after starting in pole position, has dropped down to 3rd place. But what can he do? Because he's put in laps earlier, so what can he do now in the race?
Yeah, absolutely. Just 1.2 seconds covering this top 4, as that's a move from Matthew Thomas on Lewis Hull, I believe, in the background there. And yeah, no, as they go down into turn 1, the top 3 seem to be checking out a little bit now. Can Harrison Day challenge Sam Gardner here?
Yeah, Sam Gardner still leads the way, touching the curb there, bumping over it. It's such a treacherous place to be on the curbs and on the white lines. Whenever it's wet, it is so slippy on that paint. But Matthew Thomas is actually the fastest man on the track with 48.9. Matthew Thomas looks to have the confidence, but Chloe Gleason actually, I believe, has not started the race. There's been 3 riders that haven't put a lap in yet, so I believe it's just a 10-rider race right now. But all eyes on this leading group as Lewis Hull looks to try and get past Sam Gardner, where Matthew Thomas got past on that previous lap as we cross the line. And then there's just 6 laps to go in this race. These races go past so quick, but Harrison Day is still there and he's looking for a move.
Yeah, absolutely. We're already seeing these riders take completely different lines into some of the corners, which means that Harrison Day is occasionally way quicker than Sam Gardner, but in some corners Sam Gardner has the edge over everyone else. So we'll have to wait and see if they can make a move into this hairpin, as Matthew Thomas seems to be making a move on Harrison Day here.
Yeah, Matthew Thomas just lurking behind Harrison Day, and it caused Harrison Day to take such a defensive line through the first lot of hairpins. So Harrison Day under some amount of pressure, which may just allow Sam Gardner to escape. But the thing is, in these conditions, it's so easy to make a mistake. So the race will not be over until we see checker flag. All riders tuck in their knees as they cross the line to then just make it 5 laps to go in this race. Sam Gardner sets the fastest lap of the race with 48.2, faster than everyone else. But Harrison Day and Matthew Thomas just 1/10 of a second slower that time round. So it's not over yet. Harrison Day, he wants redemption over the past couple of rounds. You know, he's been fighting injuries. He said he was still sore at Ella Park, so now he's really trying and really deciding this is this time to win the race. This is this time to go for it, because in these conditions it's slightly less physical for these riders. Although these are little bikes, these are still tiring for these younger riders. These are still small riders and small bikes, just as tiring with a big rider with a big bike.
Yeah, absolutely. In some sections of this track, it looks like Sam Gardner's about to check out. However, he appears to be a bit slower through the S's, where he did have his crash in the warm-up lap. So could he be taking that a bit too cautiously? Because every single time they go through there, it appears that Harrison Day has gained quite a bit of time on him. But right now, it looks as if Matthew Thomas is going to be making a move on Harrison Day. So it's all to play for still, with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Matthew Thomas is building up his lap times right now. His last lap was a 47.9. The only rider in the 47 so far this race, but we've seen every single lap the riders getting faster and faster. And one rider who is not took to these conditions is Byron Johnson, currently down in 8th place. That is not what he'll be wanting right now, but you can see he's in an intense battle right now of Oliver Hull and Jenson Bishop. Oliver Hull winning the Rookies Championship. He knows what it's like to lead the championship, so he knows exactly what Byron Johnson's feeling right now. Byron Johnson, as I mentioned, came into the weekend, came into this race with an incredible 88 point lead, but Lewis Hull actually setting the fastest lap of 47.6. But there we go, Byron Johnson's passed Oliver Hull. So Oliver Hull, what will he do? Will he just stay behind and learn from the championship leader, or will he fight back straight away in case he tries and check out?
Yeah, Byron Johnson. Oh, is that a move on Jenson Bishop already? That's 2 bikes in 2 corners. Fantastic from Byron Johnson as he gets himself up into P6.
Yeah, great move there, and it looks like, as I said, Byron Johnson is struggling with the conditions. He proves me wrong, and he's up into 6th place, so maybe this is now where he tries and catches up to Liam Lindquist in 5th place. It's going to be a hard task, just 3 laps left in this race, and it's quite a big gap. It's a 10-second gap, so it's going to be quite a tricky one to clench back, but if anyone can do it, it's Byron Johnson. This is racing, anything can happen. One little mistake, one little too hard of the brake lever grab, and you're down on the deck in these conditions. It's so slippy, and Sam Gardner with a 47 flat leads the way.
Yeah, no, it looks as if Sam Gardner has managed to master every section of this track, as he has been pulling away from Harrison Day. And Harrison Day obviously has Matthew Thomas for company on that green machine. So can Matthew Thomas set Harrison Day up around this final corner to go on to the final lap of the race and potentially make a move into turn 1?
Yeah, Lewis Hull just there lurking behind and picking up the pieces if Matthew Thomas and Harrison Day trip each other up. But we are on the last lap of the race now. Harrison Day into the 46s, a 46.7 last time round, so that means it's a 7/10 of a second gap that he currently has over Harrison Day. So Harrison Day needs to keep his cool. Although he sees the bike going away, he needs to know this is the last lap. It's valuable championship points to gain back. I mean, the championship leader is down in 6th place right now. There we are, Jenson Bishop just behind him. So now the battle for 6th isn't over either. There's battles all the way throughout the field, but we wait. This is the leader right here, as this will be his first win in the weekend. Will it be first win of many? We have to wait to see. Sam Gardner fully tucks in as he comes across the line to win the race. What a great race there from Sam Gardner, setting the fastest lap of the race in such tricky conditions, with Matthew Thomas in 2nd place with Lewis Hull in 3rd. So it's been Harrison Day and Harrison Day's crashed on the final lap. He's just seen the race leader get away from him and push too hard. It's so easy to do in these conditions, but that is not what Harrison Day wants. So Harrison Day, and there is another rider down in the hairpin section. So these riders, it's properly raining now. The heavens have opened once again this final lap, and wow, what a race that has been. But Harrison Day finishing all the way down 7th place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this race is still not over. Yeah, people have still got to cross the line. So yeah, no, we've had the rain come back at the end of this race, proving that these conditions can change whenever. So yeah, fantastic race from Sam Gardner, from Matthew Thomas, from Lewis Hull, from Liam Lindquist, Byron Johnson, Oliver Hull, Harrison Day, Jenson Bishop, Callum Maxwell and Rex Austin. What a race.
Yeah, it's been a close race, and considering the conditions, all the riders gave it their all, and all riders put in a great show for the great crowd that we have here at FAB. It's such a close-knit and family-like community. I mean, everyone looks out for each other, and there's Callum Maxwell, who made that mistake on the final lap of the race. It looks like he may get going and may even cross the line just to get finished in this race and get some valuable points, because there were only 10 finishers that race. It was such tricky conditions for these riders, and the race started with the heavens opened and the race finished with the heavens opened. and it had every single thing we wanted. It has bike dramas, close battles, overtakes, and weather changes. And wow, the weather is going to be the real talking point this weekend. And Harrison Day, that was a slight disaster in the last lap. I think it's fair to say 7th place he will finish now. That is not what he wants. It puts Byron Johnson in front of him, so he's 3rd place at the well, now he's just lost even more valuable championship points from Byron Johnson.
Yeah, no, we still need to receive confirmation on actually what happened with Harrison Day. Could have been rider error, however, he could have been tussling with someone. It remains to be seen.
Yeah, and well, you can see, if you loved what you've seen here, you can see more of these guys tomorrow for race 2 and race 3 here on Sunday at FAB. We have it all live for you, and well, don't go just yet. We have plenty of races coming up, and next up we are going to have the Extreme 200s. So as I said, the Extreme 200s coming out on track. We wait for the riders to come to the holding area. This class, it's quite an open class. You can almost race whatever you want as long as it's within the engine specifications. So you see some pit bike 140s out there, some mini GP70s, some Supermoto KTM 2-stroke seems to be the famous bike of choice.
Yeah, no, the clue is certainly in the name with the Extreme 200. It's extreme, Lewis. It's an incredible racing series. We're going to have to see what happens here today. Obviously, at the end of the last race, the rain did pick up, so we are going to start in wet conditions by the looks of things.
Yeah, we certainly are, and we have plenty of talent in this grid and plenty of Talent Cup riders. Philip Soroviak, Rossi Banham, ex-Talent Cup rider, Bailey Stewart Campbell, just to name a few. I mean, there's so many riders that come back to FAB and then show the younger riders really how it's done and give them advice. They don't just show them up in the races, they give them advice and tell them how they can go faster themselves. But some great opportunities for you to come race with some of the feature stars and some of the feature talents and learn something off them, learn their racecraft, because we've seen some dominant performances this season from Philip Soroviak, because we see some great battles last round actually with Sullivan Mountsie, another Talent Cup rider who sadly is not here this round. Sullivan, if you're watching at home, please come back to do some more races. It's some great battles and everyone in this field really has some great talent. Philip Soroviak though will be starting on 2nd place at one of the Talent Cup riders as we mentioned, but it'll be Ryan Hitchcock on pole position with a 39.9 in qualifying into the 32nd bracket. It's such short laps around the circuit. Philip Soroviak, as I said, we start in 2nd. Rossi Banham in 3rd. Bailey Stewart Campbell running off 2nd grid in 4th. Noah Gilroy will be in 5th with Jack Andrews, also riding in the Moto team, will be starting in 6th. Ollie Walker in 7th with Sean Whittaker in 8th. Matthew Fedrick will be starting the 5th row of the grid in 9th with Ben Jolife in 10th. And Thomas Dudson will be starting in 11th with Owen Thomas in 12th. Clayton Edmondson should be starting in 13th, but these are changeable conditions and these are frankly horrific conditions to race in. It's changing lap to lap, so we're just gonna have to wait and see, because not all riders like racing in these conditions.
Yeah, no, we do have a rider or two starting from the pit lane as well, but yeah, no, that warm-up lap is crucial for these lads out there. They need to warm up their tyres, so yeah, we're just waiting for the final riders to come out before we start this race. So we just wait for the riders before we look up to the lights and the pressure starts to build, the tension starts to build. As we've been pointing to the lights, we're gonna have to wait for the lights to come on. The lights are on, and we go racing at Clay Pigeon. Great start from Philip Soroviak. It's side by side behind him as they go towards turn 1 in these treacherous conditions, tiptoeing through turn 1. Look at them, look how cautious they're approaching this first lap. You can see spray coming out of their tyres, but yeah, very clean start from everyone on the grid. Well done to all the lads out on track.
Yeah, it's such tricky conditions, but Philip Soroviak straight away putting in laps. Rossi Banham is there, and Rossi Banham can smell blood, but Ryan Hitchcock, the man on pole position, is still there in 3rd place. Noah Gilroy on that mini GP70, still there in 4th, so it's really going to be putting in these first couple laps, getting a clean first couple laps, and then start making your way through the field whenever it starts to bridge out slightly, but it's Filip Sorowiak who leads the way, and wow, what a dominant performance has been so far this year from Filip Levy's been racing. But can Rossi Banham put a stop to it? It's just a 9/10 of a second gap across the line. Rossi Banham on his pit bike 140 that he uses, but there he is gets passed actually by Ryan Hitchcock, the man on pole position. So can Ryan Hitchcock catch Filip Sorowiak and get past him? Because if anyone can do it, it's him, because he started on pole position.
Yeah, Rossi Banham and Ryan Hitchcock have been having a fantastic little battle in the previous couple laps. Banham overtook him down the start-finish straight, I believe, and Ryan Hitchcock said no and overtook him back through the S's with an absolutely phenomenal lunge. Can Rossi Banham get back through to hunt for the lead?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. Rossi Banham, such a talented rider, currently racing the Junior Super Stock Championship in the British Superbike Paddock. So once again, it's a testimony to just showing the family atmosphere at FAB. And Rossi, just like most riders here at FAB, they're such lovely people. They're so nice to go and talk to and have a chat. They'll happily have a chat with anyone, but Sorowiak, who still leads the way. And look at that, the doctors dangle into the hairpin and just showing his confidence with that motorcycle as Ryan Hitchcock sets the fastest lap of the race, so a 45 flat.
Yeah, no, Hitchcock is all over the rear of Filip Sorowiak at the moment. Can he make a move? He seems to have the pace over him at the moment. That seems to be a big accident. That
Andrews.
is a big crash for Jack Andrews into the tyre barrier. As he's on the floor, the yellow flags have been waved. He is up. He seems to be okay. As he climbs over the fence in disbelief. Yeah, great weekend so far. It's a real shame as we see the battle for the lead again. Hitchcock all over the back of Filip Sorowiak. Can he make a move here? Can he make a move as Rossi Banham's also licking his lips behind, waiting for anyone to make an error? What can he do, Lewis?
Yeah, Rossi Banham, he's just got dragged up there by Ryan Hitchcock, so it's just going to be waiting and seeing what's happened. But so disappointing from Jack Andrews, but mistakes happen. It's so easy to make mistakes in these conditions as Ryan Hitchcock tries and makes a move on Filip Sorowiak. But yeah, Jack Andrews was a bit winded there, but he was up on his feet, which is great to see. But it's Filip Sorowiak who still leads the way, just 2/10 of a second gap, but they come across the line. What will it be now? It's still 2/10 of a second, but Rossi Banham is even closer. You can see some of the fans and some of the riders and families watching the small grandstands that we have here at the circuit. But there's Ryan Hitchcock going down the inside of Filip Sorowiak. Well, Filip Sorowiak, I thought this would be happening before the race. I do not think so. It's been such a dominant performance in most of the rounds, so now he has a challenger, but it's a yellow flag out on track, so of course no overtaking in that sector, so Filip Sorowiak cannot get past it, but yellow flags look to be away at where they're at right now on the track. So it's Rossi Banham who now tries and finds a way past Filip Sorowiak as Ryan Hitchcock looks to edge away.
Yeah, Banham's certainly going to want to pick up the scraps as we have another rider down. These conditions are proving to be difficult. Oh, that's unfortunate. He's right in the middle of the road, so we still have yellow flags over at the hairpin.
Yeah, Ollie Walker down there, just a Talent Cup rider, one of the talents that we have here, but it's so easy to make a mistake, and with some of these riders who may not have been prepared for such harsh conditions here at the circuit, and it's just proven that no matter how talented you are, really, it's just anyone can make a mistake. But Rossi Banham actually has got past Filip Sorowiak, so Filip Sorowiak is all the way down to third place now. Rossi Banham, can he do anything? Can he catch up to Ryan Hitchcock? Because at the line last time round it's a 9/10 of a second gap, so quite a big gap there from Ryan Hitchcock, but 7 laps to go in this race. What can Rossi Banham do? We wait for him to cross the timing beam and see what the gap is, and Ryan Hitchcock is the fastest lap of the race with 43.6, now 2 seconds ahead of Rossi Banham, but 6 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, never count out Rossi Banham. He can certainly make some inroads on Ryan Hitchcock. What can he do? What can he do? Can he find any pace in corners where he perhaps isn't pushing as hard as he can push? Because obviously we have these wet conditions out here. We have a mixture of dry tarmac and wet tarmac because it is a drying track as we watch Filip Sorowiak. It's a shame for him. He had a brilliant start into the lead, everything he had to do, and he's been overtaken by Ryan Hitchcock and Rossi Banham.
Yeah, he may have got slightly flustered, but of course he will know to just keep a cool head because Filip Sorowiak, he knows that he can do the lap times, and there's sort of second position on the grid, so he knows that he has the times, and all he needs to do is just wait. The track may come to him. If not, there's still another 2 races. There's no point throwing it down the road. I mean, the Extreme 200 class, it changes on round to round. The grid sizes change, the people come and go. Sylvan Manson's not here, Casey O'Gorman's not here, who of course is one of the other talents that we have here at FAB, that came from FAB, who is now racing in the Red Bull Rookies and Junior World Championship in the European Talent Cup. So it's so great to see so many talented riders, and there's that's Hitchcock down on the deck. The race leader is down, and now Rossi Banham will be winning this race. There's Phelps Roback also went past, and he cannot get the bike started. He's trying to bump start, trying to crackle in the throttle. There he is, he's got it started. Bump starting has worked, but where's this dropped into? I believe it may have been 4th place that has dropped into it. It's really just showing no matter how fast you are, you can just push slightly too hard. As Rossi Banham leads the way now by 3.2 seconds, and Ryan Hitchcock comes across the line. What position will he be in? Yeah, 4th place. So he is now 12 seconds down. What can he do?
Yeah, no, absolutely shaking his head in disbelief as he crossed the line that time. So yeah, we suddenly have a race on our hands as we're going to watch Hitchcock make his way back through the pack. But it looks like Rossi Banham, I'm not trying to overlay the commentator's curse, but it looks like Rossi Banham can control this race.
Yeah, Rossi Banham has the opportunity to control this race. A 3.2 second gap. He would have seen Hitchcock crashing and know exactly where he crashed, and may even know how he crashed. Maybe it just been too wide or something, so he may know not to take that line. Rossi Banham right now, he's in a difficult position. Does he push? Does he try and conserve it and maybe let Phelps Roviak catch up? It's such a tricky position to be leading the race, but Noah Guillory has been promoted into the podium positions, of course, on that mini GP70. Noah Guillory given the opportunity in the Extreme 200s to be given double the track time, so it's really, in these types of conditions, great for Noah Guillory, because it means that now he can get all the information, just like Rossi Banham is going to have all the information.
Yeah, if he can ride a motorcycle as well as he can paint a solar system, I'm sure he'll be able to finish on the podium. So currently we have Banham from Savuriak, from Noah Guillory, from Ryan Hitchcock, from Owen Thomas, Sean Whittaker, Clayton Edmonds, Ollie Walker, Jack Andrews and Matthew Frederick.
Yeah, only 7 riders left in this race. It's been a real race of nutrition. I mean, it's just trying to stay on and pick up points, because this is round 4 of the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. This is the halfway point, and this is Noah Guillory in 3rd place, rounding off the podium position. You can just see brightly coloured levers, and it's not difficult. Well, it's quite difficult to miss on the track right now. Number 41, and he's putting in the laps, just trying to stay consistent, doing 44s, which is highly respectable times. It's faster actually than Rossi Banham on that last lap, so I believe Rossi Banham right now just trying to take it conservative and bring it home with just 2 laps to go.
Yeah, as we watch Noah Guillory, I just wanted to point out that Ryan Hitchcock actually gained over a second on the man in 3rd on that previous lap. So does Ryan Hitchcock have more in his locker to try and make a move to get back onto that podium? He is quite a while behind as we have 1 lap to go, but who knows what can happen here in the Extreme 200.
Yeah, this is motorcycle racing, this is motorsport, anything can happen. Can Rossi Banham just bring it home? He would have a little look there just to see in the corner of his eye Phelps Roviak is 3 seconds behind. He just needs to stay on it now. 1 lap to go in this race. Can Rossi Banham bring it home and get the valuable championship points that he desperately needs? The Extreme 200s and the Pit Bike 140, such hard classes, but he comes round the final corner and sees the checker flag. Rossi Banham wins the race in such dominant fashion. In the end, Rossi Banham wins over Phelps Roviak. Phelps Roviak 3.6 seconds behind, so may have just been taking it conservative, and Noah Guillory coming home with a podium. But it's Ryan Hitchcock, as you mentioned, Dylan, set a fast lap of the race last time round. He comes across the line, but no, he does actually. It's Owen Thomas in 4th. So where's Ryan Hitchcock gone? Has Ryan Hitchcock fell off again? We wait and see. Sean Whittaker has came home in 5th. Ryan Hitchcock, we're still waiting and waiting for him to cross the line right now. Currently showing in 7th place our monitor right now. Has he made a mistake? Has it been a bike issue? We're waiting to find out. But Rossi Banham, the man of the moment, popping the wheelies. Rossi Banham coming home to win the race. Phelps Roviak second position. Noah Guillory coming home in 3rd. Owen Thomas in 4th. Sean Whittaker in 5th, and Clayton Edmondson in 6th. Ryan Hitchcock, we wait to see if he'll even come across the line at this point. If he does come across the line, he'll be finished in 7th place, which is not what Ryan Hitchcock would have wanted, but there's confirmation of the result. Rossi Banham wins by 3.6 seconds over Phelps Seltzerovic with Noah Gilray in third place. A great podium position for him. Owen Thomas in fourth with Sean Whittaker in fifth. Clayton Edmondson in sixth with Ryan Hitchcock hopefully coming home in seventh places after what has been a great performance. Ollie Walker in eighth and Jack Andrews in ninth, with Matthew Frederick rounding off the top 10.
Yeah, Rossi Banham has to be proud of that, especially as we see Ryan Hitchcock. He's behind the barriers.
Yeah, that's Jack Andrews.
That's Jack Andrews
coming out of the barrier, riding the bike back. So it's great to see that the rider is okay. He's able to ride it back, and the bike's still in good shape because it did do quite a heavy impact to the tyre wall there. You've seen it move the tyre wall actually back. So he came at some speed, so it's great to see. The good thing is, sometimes whenever you crash in the wet, you do just slide, so it's quite difficult to pick up an injury. But injuries can, of course, still happen. Jack Andrews hopefully have escaped some. But now we wait, and that was a great race.
Yeah, phenomenal. Brilliant from Rossi Banham again, especially after qualifying on pole.
And now it is time for what is another mini GP class. This is the mini GP 50s, and this is a class that we've seen throughout this year. There's been some close racing. Grid sizes, like most classes, have been changing quite a lot. There's been some rounds where there haven't been much. There's been some rounds that has been great grids, and there is a flag of the Queen Elizabeth on your screen right now with the Union Jack for the Platinum Jubilee, which of course was this year, as we wait for the riders to head out on the track for their sighting laps.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be an interesting race. The track is drier than it was at the start of the last race. We don't have any rain at the moment, but who knows, that could possibly change, as we do have some grey clouds out there. So we're going to have to wait and see as they line up on the grid ready to go out on their warm-up lap.
Yeah, we certainly do, and it should be what will be a great race. And these are the first time that most of these riders will have gears on their motorcycles. This is such a tricky class to get used to, and it's some riders, like on your screen right now, Archie O'Brien, who adapts it just straight away, and Luke Fitchett alongside him will be wanting blood. Luke Fitchett's so good at defending, but it's Archie O'Brien who starts on pole position with Luke Fitchett alongside him. Marco Holt with the iconic Minion helmet will be starting third, with Bill Harris, brother of Ronnie Harris, will be starting in fourth. Frankie Watson will be starting fifth, with Harley Baker in sixth. Bailey Lawrence and Bailey Lawrence rounds off your grid in seventh place, and what is quite an iconic bike. It's a pink and black bike. It's so easy to see, and well, these are conditions where it looks like the sun is starting to peek out. So the Dorset weather is really playing with us today, Dylan.
Oh, absolutely. But we do have damp sections towards the edges of the track, so if we see riders going for overtakes, we could see them struggling on a damper surface. So we're going to have to wait and see who can exercise their racecraft the best.
Yeah, it should be a great race, and should be a close race. We've seen for this year Luke Fitchett great at defending, so now all eyes are going to be on the riders on this grid to see what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. As they come round the final corner now to line up on the grid, 7 riders out on the Mini Moto 50s. We are in for a brilliant race. Changeable conditions for sure, because who knows what can happen with the weather here in Britain. So we're going to wait for the marshals to point to the red lights to get our race underway. So here we are. We have them lined up on the grid. Just have to wait and see if we are ready to get going. So here we go. The lights have been pointed to. We're waiting for the race to start. We've got 3 red lights. The lights are out, and that's a great start from Fitchett. Brilliant start. Poor start from Archie O'Brien. Great start from Holt as they go down into turn 1. Some of them are quite tentative due to the conditions, but we have Fitchett from Holt with Archie O'Brien falling back and forth.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien getting third place right now. You may not recognise him this weekend, as he does not have his iconic Spider-Man helmet on. He has a different helmet this weekend, but that is not going to affect him. He's now needing to try and build up the positions that he's lost at the start. We've seen it last round. He struggles to get the bike started, but it's Marco Holt who leads the way in this race, of Luke Fitchett in second place. Luke Fitchett, as I mentioned before the race, so good at defending, but Frankie Watson, a great start in that plain white bike in fourth place. He dropped down to fourth, but got up to third at the start. He's shown that he knows how to start this motorcycle, and now gets his time to show the racecraft.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the first lap that Marco Holt would have wanted, setting the fastest lap of the race, going from 4th to 1st, I believe, with that Minion helmet, as we also see Archie O'Brien falling off the back of Luke Fitchett ever so slightly. So can Marco Holt run away with this race?
Yeah, Marco Holt, it's his time if he wants to win this race, really. I mean, Archie O'Brien, we've seen it this year. He is so good late race. I mean, he's been struggling with his starts and getting the bike off the line, but once he does, he is usually a rocket ship. Maybe these conditions are catching him out slightly, because I don't think, to my knowledge, he's raced a Mini GP50 in these types of conditions. At this point, there's not any rain out on track. It's not raining, so conditions with the circuit drying so fast may just be slightly greasy and slightly in between, which is what you do not want at all as a motorcycle racer. It's so easy to fall, and as we've seen in the Extreme 200, it's so easy to make a mistake. But Marco Holt right now, impeccable ride so far, a 44.8 and leads away by 9/10.
Yeah, no, these conditions definitely play on the mind of the rider, because you do have one dry line and everything else is pretty damp, so you can't go in too confidently every time, because you could hit the wetter bit of track. So here we have Bill Harris having a look at Baker.
Yeah, Bill Harris going down the inside of Harley Baker. This is the battle for 5th place right now, the all-important championship points. Bill Harris, of course, has a great brother and a great mentor almost in Ronnie Harris. If he needs any advice, I'm sure he'll happily help. But there is Harley Baker right now in that blue and black bike. It's so easy to distinct who these riders are and who they are and who they're riding for. But there's Bill Harris. Going away in 5th place right now. Looks like he started just to pull away slightly from Harley Baker. So Harley Baker dropping back slightly on the number 24. Bailey Lawrence closely following. The thing about these conditions is, although it is wet and although it is slightly greasy, it can close up the race in between some people, and it's really helping some people like Bailey Lawrence, who has said to you, Dylan, that she's had quite mixed luck this year, and well, she's hoping to finally break the bad streak of luck at this round.
Yeah, exactly. As we watch Marco Holt coming through your picture, going down into turn 1 through Blind Billy's, Marco Holt seems to have one hand on the trophy this race. He seems to be bridging a gap between himself and Luke Fitchett. But what can Fitchett present to Marco Holt? Can he mount a charge towards the end of this race?
Well, I mean, Archie O'Brien, that last lap's the fastest lap of the race for 42.9. The only rider in the 42 bracket. So really, there he is. He's pushing. He's confident. You can see his knees flat on the floor there. He has full faith in his tyres. But it's so easy to almost have too much faith. And it's whenever you start to have too much faith and think it's dry enough to start riding like it's dry, that you can make some mistakes and lose some valuable championship points, which, with the championship being so tight right now, is not what you want. Marco Holt, though, still leaning away, a 1.1 second gap now. But Marco Holt, he's trying to do one better than last year, because he finished second in the championship, which is why he's running the number 2 plate right now. But so far, he is leading the championship from Luke Fitchett and Archie O'Brien. But Archie O'Brien in 3rd place, best lap of the race. The only person in the low 42 brackets. All riders now practically in the 42s, and they're really starting to push on. I mean, the best lap of the race being a 42.2 from Archie O'Brien. So Archie O'Brien, can he catch up to Fitchett as Bill Harris? Now looks like he's closed on Frankie Watson.
Yeah, here we go. Is he going to launch a move into the final corner? No, he isn't. He's going to set him up as they go into the start-finish straight. Can he tuck into the slipstream, or he's going to run a little bit wide on the exit? It doesn't look possible for Harris at the moment. But yeah, no, as you were just saying, Archie O'Brien currently lighting up the timing towers with a 41.6.
Yeah, 41.6 is an incredible lap time. It's not too far off. I mean, it's about a second off, just over a second off from what they were doing in qualifying. So they are clearly on it, and they're clearly pushing really hard. But Archie O'Brien now, he's closed on Luke Fitchett. But Luke Fitchett, he is one of the best defenders in the paddock, I would personally say. He impressed me so much with his racecraft. He will be hearing that Archie O'Brien's bike is behind him, or someone's bike is behind him, and he knows to defend. But Archie O'Brien tries to put a stop to it, but Luke Fitchett slams the door on his front wheel and says, no, you cannot get past, you need to do better than that. But now Marco Holt, he's not gotten away. It's a 4/10 of a second gap with just 4 laps to go. What will happen in this race? We're going to have to wait to find out. This is a freeway battle for the lead.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't see this one coming, as Marco Holt has started to drop off his fastest pace by a considerable margin, as Luke Fitchett is now all over his rear end. Does he have a problem, or is he just struggling with the conditions out there? Has he used too much of the tyre? As we see Archie O'Brien getting a better exit out of the final corner, trying to mount another move on Fitchett, but Fitchett's trying to make a move on Holt into turn 1 here. What's going to happen in the last 3 laps of this race? It's all about to be seen.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, just 3 laps going in this race, a 1/10 of a second now from Luke Fitchett, but Archie O'Brien trying to make a move there, but Archie O'Brien still cannot find any way past. But there's Luke Fitchett going down the inside for the race lead over Mark Holt. Luke Fitchett leads the way, so now can Mark Holt bite back? Yes, he can. No, he cannot. Luke Fitchett closes the door so much that Mark Holt cannot get on the throttle. This is Luke Fitchett's time. This is the time for him to show his incredible riding skills and his incredible racecraft in defending.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be tight between these guys. They need to make sure that they don't do anything too rash. Is that Marco Holt having a look down the inside? No, he's had to back out of it again, but he's still in the contention for the lead here as Archie O'Brien is licking his lips in the background, waiting to pick up the scraps of any incident that could occur between them as they go towards the hairpin with 2 laps to go. Fitchett's still in the lead from Holt, from O'Brien.
Yeah, Mark Holt looking for any way past there. Luke Fitchett slamming the door around the outside area. He's making sure there's no way past, but Archie O'Brien still lurking there in 3rd place. What can he do as we head round the final corner for what will be the last lap of this race?
Yeah, no, phenomenal battle between these 3 going on to the final lap. Nothing to separate the top 3 here as they go round Blind Billy's for the final time into turn 1. Marco Holt has a look, not quite, with Archie O'Brien having a look at the back of Marco Holt. Is Holt going to launch it into the S's? No. Is Archie O'Brien going to have to pick up the pieces there going towards the hairpin as they go towards the hairpin for the final time into the hairpin, and that's Archie O'Brien down the inside of Marco Holt. He's made the move on the final lap of the race. Is this going to allow Luke Fitchett to move away from these 2? It's all remains to be seen as they go around the horseshoe towards the final corner for the final time this race. Luke Fitchett seems to have the lead. Can Archie O'Brien launch anything on this final lap? He's close in the exit of the corner. He gets a good exit. It's still close between the 3 of them. Can O'Brien get him on the line? No, it's Fitchett from O'Brien from Holt. What a race!
Yeah, great ride there from Luke Fitchett. Just a dominant performance of his defending skills. As I said at the start of the race, he's so good at defending, but in that last lap, the top 3 riders all in the 41 bracket. They're pushing each other to the absolute limit. Luke Fitchett, thumbs up to the camera. He is delighted with that, but Archie O'Brien cannot be disappointed. A 2nd place from the Vision Track rider. Valuable championship points that he's gained on Marco Holt, who finishes in a respectable 3rd place. Mark Holt, he's finished where he started, but there's Archie O'Brien. He's celebrating, he's happy, but wow, what a ride from Luke Fitchett. Just 0.2 seconds at the line, and there he is, Archie O'Brien bouncing off his bike, thumbs up to the crowd, and it's been a great race from him, and it's been a great race from these top 3, put on a show like we've seen in the Mini GP50s.
Oh, what a race that was, Lewis. That was everything that it promised to be and more. They've definitely been putting on a show for us this weekend, and that is definitely a good way to go out today. So, the top 10, we had Luke Fitchett from Archie O'Brien, from Marco Holt, from Bill Harris, from Frankie Watson, Harley Baker, and then Bailey Lawrence rounding out the top 7.
Yeah, a great race there, and although there was just 7 riders in this race, it produced some great racing. It proves that big grids are not necessarily what you need to produce great racing, but there's some more flags, plenty of flags flying about the circuit and showing the wind conditions. Actually, it's not too windy for these riders, but it's just enough wind to be able to help dry the track. So there's a slight breeze at the circuit right now here in Dorset.
It's ironic because it's above a tent that says the breeze. But yeah, the weather seems to be getting a little bit darker as we wait for the next round. Next race.
Yeah, it certainly does, and we just wait for the next class to come out, and yeah, conditions are slightly changing. It's quite difficult to race in these conditions because you really have to use your head, and we've seen that race, not too many followers, but it's still really tricky out there.
Hello everyone and welcome to Clay Pigeon for round 4 of the FAB-Racing series. Now we have the Mini Moto Pros out on track, I believe.
Rookies up next. Rookies up next. So these are the starting class for these riders, and these are the first time that they will have a go. Some of them actually, it might be their first ever time on a wet racetrack. So it's quite a big grid, it's quite young riders, it's quite small bikes, but it's still high speeds, high entertainment and high levels of racing. I mean, it's so impressive to see some of the skills that these kids have at such a young age. Some of these riders being as young as 6 years old. But it is all talk on that man there, Taylor Tomlinson, leading the championship, and he's shown some great performance, and he's shown some great talent in his first season. He's won almost, I think, every single race bar one over Sebastian Gieslowski. So it's been a great season so far, but it's at round 4, so now it's at the point in the season where championship points really count.
Yeah, and obviously where these lads are very young themselves, mentality is as important as physicality. We do see the pressure get to some of them occasionally, so what can we expect from this race today?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and find out. The riders now may be a bit apprehensive, a bit nervous, because as I mentioned, this will be some of their first ever time on a wet racetrack. But Taylor Tomlinson, the championship leader, starts in pole position, with Annabelle McCarthy having a great qualifying starting in second position. Logan Cousins will be starting in third, with Seth Hayward in fourth. Preston Baker, brother in the Mini GP 50s, and Max Johnson will be starting in sixth. Tyler Hartley in seventh. Sebastian Gieslowski, not where we usually see him, will be starting in eighth, with Matthew Jennings in ninth. Daley Polden will be starting in 10th, with Josh Perkins in 11th. Nicholas Dunwoody in 12th, with Kai Hawken in 13th. Archie Hooper in 14th. Jensen and Ansell in 15th. Callan Ratcliffe will be starting 16th, and Mason Fedrick will be starting 17th. His first round actually being at round 3. Jensen Cedras will be starting 18th, with Oliver Wilson 19th, and Danny Longhurst will be rounding off what is quite a big grid, 20 riders in the rookie class. So we're expecting some great close racing.
Yeah, no, we do have a lot of damp patches on the track from some rain earlier. This is the driest the track has been in recent hours though, however, so it seems to be pretty good conditions for them out there, but every single time we said that, it has then proceeded to rain. So if you'd like to take off the start, Lewis.
Yeah, it should be what should be a great race, and we just wait to get point up to the lights, and we go racing here for the first race of the rookie class. Tension's building on the grid. You can almost cut the tension with a knife. These are the talents of the future. These riders are young, but these riders are fast and fierce. Lights are on and lights are off, and we go racing. It's Taylor Tomlinson gets an amazing start, and once again we see him lead the way. Annabelle McCarthy, not what she would have wanted, dropping back into what I believe is 4th place. Seth Hayward though, great start into third in the podium position straight away. So Seth Hayward had a great time last round, and he's going to be wanting to try and carry that form. But all eyes are actually going to be on Sebastian Gieslowski across the line, cutting the time beat for the first time around. He was up into 7th place. So what can he do? He is Taylor Thompson's closest threat. Taylor Thompson though leads the way in what is hopefully going to be a great race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've had an exceptionally clean start so far for all the lads out on track, which is great to see, because we have everyone reaching lap 2, which is something that many people might not have expected. So as they round the final corner for the first time, going onto the start-finish straight, Taylor Tomlinson is beginning to build a gap to P2, but Logan Cousins has set the fastest lap of the race, so I tell a lie there actually. Logan Cousins could be competition for Taylor Tomlinson out there.
Yeah, Logan Cousins right on Taylor Thompson's back wheel, but Seth Hayward's still there. But Annabelle McCarthy, although she got quite a bad start, she's there and she's ready to pounce. She's ready to just get past Seth Hayward, because she started on the front row of the grid. She clearly has pace, and she knows she has pace, but it's Logan Cousins right now, which all eyes are on. Can Taylor Tomlinson finally have a challenge in this race? We've seen last round Taylor Thompson was his own enemy, falling down in the depth but still remounting and getting some valuable championship points, which all thoughts should be on by this point in the championship. These riders are still young though, so they will want race win after race win after race win, and Logan Cousins can see a potential race win, but Seth Hayward can actually see a potential second place. But it's Annabelle McCarthy who sets the fastest lap of the race with 49.9.
Yeah, no, racecraft is difficult on these little bikes. It's hard enough to get them around the track on their own, let alone when you have 3 riders around you. So what can Annabelle McCarthy do to make inroads on the 3 riders ahead of her? Taylor Tomlinson seems to be assured, but Logan Cousins has been gaining ever so slightly, with Seth Hayward in P3. So what can come of this race? Can Logan Cousins mount a charge?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. Logan Cousins, he's looking aggressive. He has a dark visor on, which some people may not want to do, because whenever it rains, dark visors makes it so tricky to see where it's damp and where you really don't want to go in the trap. But Seth Hayward, he's looking aggressive with that aggressive looking bird AGV helmet. He looks down the inside that left kink. He can find no way past but it's Taylor Thompson who leads the way by just 2/10 of a second, and Annabelle McCarthy going down the inside of Seth Hayward into third place. Great move there for Annabelle McCarthy, and now it's time. Can she start to make the inward on Taylor Thompson and Logan Cousins?
Yeah, no, fantastic move from Annabelle. She set up the move perfectly, going down around Blind Billy's, set it up, went down the inside, took the position off McCarthy, but McCarthy seems to be trying to get that place back. He's not going to let that one go easily, and this is all allowing Logan Cousins and Taylor Tomlinson to break out up front.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's not what they want to see. They're going to be squabbling even more because they see the front two boys going away with it. They will not want it, and they will think they are faster than the bike in front of them. But right now, it's Taylor Thompson who is the fastest man in the track with a 49.7. Half a second of a lead now. But Annabelle McCarthy, as we said, up into third place, 50.2. Such fast lap times for these rookie riders.
Yeah, no, a 49.7 out there for Taylor Tomlinson. He seems to have the pace to break away now, but as I mentioned before, anything can happen in these races as they are already approaching back markers. So it looks like Annabelle McCarthy is going to have a go at Logan Cousins here. However, she just has made a mistake, and Seth Hayward's going to want to try and capitalise on that.
Yeah, Seth Hayward trying to find any way past. There was a slight bobble there from Annabelle McCarthy. We've seen it on the previous lap as well. She pushes so hard out of that hairpin, but just 4 laps going in this race as we head around the final corner for what will be 3 laps to go in this race as Taylor Thompson breaks the timing beam once again, and now Taylor Thompson has quite a comfortable gap of half a second once again for Logan Cousins, but Annabelle McCarthy now going down the inside of Logan Cousins, so now Logan Cousins back to third, and now Seth Hayward capitalised on that and getting up into third place. Seth Hayward can smell blood. Seth Hayward can smell a second place.
Yeah, no, really not good for Logan Cousins at the start of this lap. Lost out 2 places because it was compromised due to Annabelle McCarthy's lunge into turn 1 as they're lapping back markers again. It's getting really difficult to tell who is on the lead lap, who is being lapped, but at the moment we currently have Annabelle McCarthy up in second. Can she mount a charge towards Taylor Tomlinson?
It's certainly looking like a bit. All depends when you hit these back markers. It's pure luck, and it's really just how calm and composed you keep going around them, because of course they are running their own race, so you have to respect that yourself and get past them. And these riders have so little experience with just 2 laps going in this race, and there is a rider down on the deck, and that is Archie Hooper that has crashed out of this race, but he's remounted and he's got and going again. But it's Taylor Thompson, 87 thousandths of a second lead last time round. Can Annabelle McCarthy take a charge?
Yeah, no, it's difficult to see where they are. I think, that's Annabelle McCarthy.
Seth Hayward in second place now.
Yeah, it's all changed since we last saw it, but Seth Hayward, this is back marker in front, so as they're trying to get through lapped traffic, they are losing a lot of time to Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah, Taylor Tomlinson right there, nothing between them. Seth Hayward goes down the inside of Taylor Tomlinson. Taylor Thompson, those sticks round the outside. He's cracking open the throttle. He'll try to get as tucked as possible. But Seth Hayward, visibly a smaller rider, maybe slight straight line speed advantage. Seth Hayward now leads the way in this race by 2/10 of a second.
Yeah, no, Annabelle McCarthy's going to try her luck overtaking Tomlinson now, but not quite the move that she's been repeating into turn 1. It's not quite possible this lap round because, well, I mean, obviously Tomlinson, we've had a crash out on track between the number 10
Tyler Hartley and Max Johnson are down on the deck, I believe, and that is not what they would want in the last lap of the race. But, as I just said, it is the last lap of the race, and now Taylor Thompson's diving down the inside, but he cannot make it work. Seth Hayward slams the door in Taylor Thompson's front wheel. He can make sure there's no way past. Seth Hayward wants to get his first win of the year, number 15, the birdie helmet. But Taylor Thompson wants to try and dive down the inside of the last corner, the last lap. But it's Seth Hayward who's made it all work as they go to the line. Seth Hayward wins by 59 thousandths of a second over Taylor Thompson. Annabelle McCarthy coming home in third place, and wow, what a race we got there.
What a race that was. We had a very, very close finish then between Hayward and Tomlinson. Unfortunately, Annabelle McCarthy got stuck up in traffic, so it allowed the front two to get away. What a race we had then. Finally, someone who's been challenging Taylor Tomlinson.
Yes, certainly. I mean, we've seen no one be able to challenge Taylor Tomlinson all year, but Taylor Tomlinson finally now has got his win streak broken. Last person, of course, who broke it was Sebastian Gieslowski right at the start of the year. But it's Seth Hayward who wins the race from Taylor Thompson. Annabelle McCarthy coming home in third place with Logan Cousins in 4th. Preston Breaker, great ride from him in 5th place with Matthew Jennings in 6th. Sebastian Gazlowski in 7th with Josh Perkins in 8th. Daisy Polden in 9th with Nicholas Dunwoody rounding out the top 10. Kai Hawkins coming home in 11th, and Tyler Hart and Archie Hooper in 12th with Tyler Hartley, who was seen crashing that last lap, will be coming home in 13th. Jason Ansell will be 14th. Max Johnson, who we also seen make a slight mistake, will be finishing in 15th.
Yeah, no, a race of attrition, that one. Certainly something that we shouldn't have not expected. But yeah, brilliant race. We had great battles all throughout the pack, which is obviously what you want to see as a spectator. We had some incredible last lap drama, of course, between Seth Hayward and Taylor Tomlinson, but a fantastic result for Seth Hayward. And yeah, that's exactly what he would have wanted.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it was a great result for Annabelle McCarthy. It was our first podium, actually, I believe, and it's great to see a young female rider doing so great. And there's so many female riders coming up the ranks, and it's another female podium that FAB can put on the records, and it'll definitely be a race to remember this year because it is such a close class and so many riders. I mean, 20 riders for a rookie championship. And next up, we will have the Moto team race as we see the lovely Scottish flag flying in the air here in Dorset. Although we may be at the other side of the country, the Scottish flag still flies high. But we wait for the Moto team class to come onto the grid to then get their race started. There's been a lot of talking points in between rounds. Jay King, last year's champion, being one of the main ones, of course, having such a big crash at Ella Park at his home round and breaking some ribs and really damaging himself quite badly. And luckily, we see him on track today and we see him fighting fit. And well, I don't believe he's fit enough to ride the pit bikes again, but he's given Moto team a try because it's slightly less physical for him. So will this be his race? I mean, we've seen last round mixed round for him in the Moto team because he did jump start, which gave him the nickname Jump Start Jake for most of the round. But we wait and see, and we wait for these final riders to line up on the grid.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Will Howarth will choose to start. I believe he's taken the pole. However, we do have the warm-up lap to go, so you're expecting Will Howarth to start from the back again?
For this weekend, I would say no. I mean, his championship rival Darren Anderson was not here last round, and now he is. And Darren Anderson, Will Howarth, although Will Howarth will not be starting at the back of the grid, I wouldn't say we are expecting an incredible race. These two, although they're on two completely different styles of motorcycle, it is such an incredible class and such a close class with high octane racing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those classes that the layperson may not understand too well. However,
we will have Darren Anderson starting in pole position with Will Howarth. His championship rival will be starting in second with Jack Andrews. A mixed last round crashing out in the Extreme 200 race that you just witnessed. Will be starting in third with Jason Pugh in fourth. Ian Jackson in fifth, and Jamie King, as we were talking about, fighting back, fighting fit, will be starting in sixth. Philip Joyce in seventh with Scott Jewett in eighth. Jamie Desson will be starting in ninth for the fifth row of the grid, with Madison Martlew will be rounding off the grid in 10th place.
Yeah, so we are in for a treat today. The track has dried out a lot since their qualifying session, so they could go full send, full commitment as they have lined up on the grid. We are just waiting for the red light, and then we will get underway for this Moto team race.
Yeah, we wait for the final checks to be done, the grid final checks to be done by the marshals. Point up to the lights, we wait for the lights to go on. Lights are on, then the lights are off, and we go race them. How will he get in the power band? Will Howarth gets in the power band perfectly. Darren Anderson drops all the way back to second place, but now he dives up the inside straight away. He does not want Will Howarth to get away. And Jason Pugh also diving up the inside. Will Howarth pushed back to third. This is not what we were expecting to see.
Yeah, no, phenomenal start for Will Howarth. He'd made a mistake and went a little bit too deep into turn one, allowing Darren Anderson back through on the inside, and then that gave Jason Pugh the opportunity to send it into the S's. So Will Howarth is going to have to make a couple overtakes if he wants to win this race.
Yeah, he certainly does, but Will Howarth, he is the man to do it. If anyone could do it, it is Will Howarth. this class though, there's battles all the way down the field, and there's two classes in this race. There's an open class and a standard class. It's basically in the name. Standard class is basically a standard motorcycle. They get off the road with some race fairings. The open class is far more open. You can tune the bikes a bit more, you can do a bit more race upgrades, but it produces great races. As we've seen here, Jack Andrews dives down the inside. Jamie King, the champion, the last year's champion, running the number 1 plate, of course, with just normal white fairings, nothing too fancy. But Jamie King, great riding, great to see him fighting here. He is fighting as hard as he can. I mean, 5th place is still highly respectable, but he wants that 4th from Jack Andrews. But it's Darren Anderson who still leads the way.
Yeah, no, it's been Darren Anderson out front. Can he bridge a gap between himself and Jason Pugh, as Ian Jackson is up in 3rd? Where has Will Howarth gone? I believe we've had a bit of a transponder issue. Will Howarth does appear to be up in P3 with Jason Pugh in 2nd. So Darren Anderson out in front by 0.438 seconds.
Yeah, there's confirmation. Jamie King's dropped back to 6th place, but Jamie King, of course, as we said, had such a bad crash at Ella Park. But there's Will Howarth diving up the inside of Jason Pugh for 2nd place. Will Howarth is on charge now. But it's Darren Anderson who may have just got a bit comfortable in that race lead, because usually by now they're scrapping away from multiple laps. So maybe Darren Anderson might be thinking, well, Howarth is quite far back after getting squabbled on the start, but now he has a little look behind him actually and sees that Will Howarth is now there, and now it's time, now it's hammer time. What can Will Howarth do, and can Darren Anderson keep the lead of the race, as currently it's just 0.2 of a second?
Yeah, no, exactly. I would never ever count out Will Howarth. He's going to stalk Darren Anderson like an eagle. It's going to be a phenomenal race. This race, as Will Howarth has already has already gained a lot of time on Darren Anderson this lap into the hairpin as they approach the horseshoe now.
Yeah, they certainly do. And these bikes, they're quite big motorcycles for these kart tracks. It makes overtaking quite difficult. So as Will Howarth's just done, it's easier to catch them on, but it's another thing to overtake them. So Will Howarth, he has, as they cross the line now, 8 laps to do it. He has 8 laps to try to find a way past Darren Anderson. But now, bad markers are getting into play. Madison Martlow just up ahead on the road in the blue and yellow bike, and they'll get past as easy as they can. Will Howarth got the short stick of that. I mean, Will Howarth, it doesn't look like it's lost him too much time, but he just caught the back marker at the wrong point midway through the chicane. But Darren Anderson still leads the way.
Yeah, where we have multiple classes in the Moto team category, we are going to see back markers come into play pretty regularly, so it could affect this race big time as they go into the final corner to finish this lap. Will Howarth hasn't made any inroad on Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Anderson leads the way, and it's been a great performance so far. Now the gap is 0.5 of a second over Will Howarth. Jason Pugh, though, on the number 8 Honda, is lurking there in third. There may be a decent gap right now, but Jason Pugh, he's still in enough range that if Darren Anderson and Will Howarth start tripping each other up, he has 7 laps to make an inroad on that gap they've managed to bridge on them. So now, can Jason Pugh also make a play?
We are getting spots on the camera lens of the shot at the hairpin. Could there be some rain in the air? The clouds have gone a little bit darker. Could that come into play towards the end of this race as we watch Will Howarth stalking Anderson into the final corner? Will he be able to make some more inroads as they come round now? Can he get a better exit, try and get a run down the start-finish straight?
Yeah, now we just have to wait and see. They cross the line and cross the time beam to make it 6 laps to go in this race. And Darren Anderson sets the fastest lap of the race with a 42.848. But it's only 1/10 faster, less than 1/10 faster than Will Howarth in 2nd place. So there's nothing in them. Although the gap's 6/10 right now, there's still 6 laps left. All Will Howarth needs to do is use his head and use his skill and ability, and the rain is starting to appear once again.
Yeah, no, the rain is going to play an effect in this race. It's coming down, and the minute it starts coming down, the track will go immediately. It'll go slicker immediately, as we have had a crash in the background there. Here we see it, the number 8 of Jason Pugh from 3rd. That's not what Jason Pugh would have needed at all.
Yeah, it's certainly not. I mean, Jason Pugh on the podium position, but it's taken quite a while to try and get that bike started. He's just checking if there's any fluid or anything leaking out of it, because sometimes it's quite hard to see in these slick and wet conditions. So Jason Pugh waiting to find a gap in the road to get back out on the track.
So immediately the rain having an impact on this race. Oh, that's Darren Anderson. Darren Anderson's gone down. That's surely given Will Howarth the win. But who knows, Will Howarth could also make a mistake. As I said, the rain immediately making an effect on this race. Wow!
Yeah, Darren Anderson just made a slight mistake there, too much front brake, and with these tyres, these are slick tyres, so they have no cuts in them, so these are ex-Moto3 tyres actually, they're the same as they use in Grand Prix, so you need heat in these tyres, and whenever there's not enough heat, and there's Will Howarth actually signaling to stop the race. He's trying to get a red flag out as all these riders are on wet tyres, so it's going to get to the point where they're going to completely lose temperature. Once you lose temperature, you've lost all your grip, because the way the slick tyres work is with the heat they almost melt into the road, and then that's when they grip, and right now it's not what you want to see right now. The riders just trying to stay on their feet, and Will Howarth wanting the race stopped.
You can see the track getting a lot foggier. Yeah, no, where the riders are out on slicks, they're not going to be liking this, as we see the number 119 of Philip Joyce also off the track. This is turning out to be a pretty chaotic race. In car racing, driving on a wet track is not a good idea on slicks. However, riding on a wet track on a motorcycle with slicks is not easy at all. It's not going to get red flagged this race, so we've got 4 laps with each rider out there on slick tyres. This could be incredible.
Yeah, the rain really needs to start going down heavy for, I think, a red flag to come out, unless all riders agree simultaneously to get his red flag race control may listen. But right now it doesn't look like the rain's too heavy, although the clouds are still glooming, and we just wait to see what's going to happen. 3 laps left in this race, but now Will Howarth still leads the way. We're getting reports that rain is starting to get heavier, so Will Howarth, he's wanting this race stopped, but that is also because he's in the lead of this race. He knows how easy it is. He's just watched his championship rival fall down on the deck, but now Will Howarth leads by 5.2 seconds over Ian Jackson and Jack Andrews in the respectable 3rd place, but Jamie King in 4th. Jamie King, a great ride from him right now. Jamie King, of course, fighting back from injury at Ella Park. I mean, it was such a heavy crash that he had, but there we have, last lap flag is out, even though there's meant to be 2 laps, so they've reduced it by 1 lap because of how heavy this rain is getting. Of course, the yellow flag with a black cross means it's the last lap of the race in motorcycle racing, so we wait for all these riders to hopefully come home safe as Will Howarth comes back for the last lap of the race.
Yeah, no, they've had to reduce the race distance. They can't risk having them out for too long in these conditions. Will Howarth still hasn't crossed the line yet. Is that Ian Jackson right behind him on that Suzuki machine?
Yeah, no? Will Howarth, he's taking it so tentative right now. Will Howarth, he's not wanting to make one mistake in this final lap. But Will Howarth, it's the final lap. It's the final corner of this race. He has the Suzuki working behind him, but Will Howarth wins this race. Will Howarth in a dominant fashion, wanting the race stopped, but it didn't get stopped, but it did get reduced in time, so you just see him, he was crawling round on that last lap. Will Howarth, though, wins the race from Ian Jackson on that 27 Suzuki, just 3 tenths behind of going across the line. So on that last lap, Will Howarth just wanted to bring it home. He didn't want to throw it down the road like Darren Anderson did, but Darren Anderson DNF in this race, and Jack Andrews, as I said earlier on, he is such an up and down last round, and he comes home in 3rd place. Jamie King finished in 4th, and Scott Jewett in 5th. So it was a great race, and Will Howarth is one to remember once again. Dominant and tricky race for him. Yeah, no, I think he got a little bit complacent at the end there. I think he believed he had a bigger gap over the man in P2 than he actually did. He was taking it really, really cautiously. So as we go down the grid, we have Will Howarth, Ian Jackson from Jack Andrews, Jamie King in 4th, Scott Jewett in 5th, Jamie Diss in 6th, Jason Pugh in 7th, and 3 DNS in Darren Anderson, Philip Joyce and Madison Martlew. Yeah, it was a great race, and it was one that was filled with chaos and drama. The weather conditions here in Dorset throwing up the unexpected, and these riders are really struggling, and these riders, especially on the slick tyres, are really struggling with these conditions. It's so tricky to ride a motorcycle fast in normal conditions, never mind these tricky conditions. But Scott, there's Jamie Diss actually on your screen on the Yamaha, and well, great race, high drama, unexpected results, really, I think it's fair to say, and well, we wait to get the next one underway.
As we are here for the LC40 Elite, the race 1 of the weekend, we see the riders waiting to leave the pit lane to go out to the track. Lewis, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, this class, it's such a close class. We've seen it in qualifying. It was such tricky conditions for them, as it is here. It's such tricky conditions for these riders, and for these riders just to be able to keep on the track. I mean, we've seen it earlier on in the mini motor races. That is it's quite tricky for them to stay upright and keep the warmth in the tyres. But the rain now is pelting down. It is so heavy for these riders and so heavy for the marshals and medics and everyone involved. So yeah, great. And also for our cameramen out there, they're braving the conditions. But now we wait for the riders now just to head to the grid before we get the warm-up lap underway.
Yeah, no, as we've been saying this entire day, the changeable conditions are so unpredictable, as we have, I believe that's Byron Johnson lining up in the P1 slots, and that's not the best looking flag in the world, but it highlights how wet it is and how foggy it is off in the distance. So this is going to be a race of attrition, I reckon, with all these mini motos out there on a very, very slick track. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens within this race.
Yeah, we certainly are. And I mean, it's been a great weekend so far. And some of these riders, of course, racing earlier on. And it's been racing earlier on in the AC40 Pros because, of course, they can race in two classes. But across the rounds, it's been Byron Johnson, actually, who to me has been the main surprise. I mean, Byron Johnson racing on the air-cooled bike against liquid-cooled machines and still getting great results and showing his pure skill, really. But right now in the championship, it's a Johnson 1-2 with Austin Johnson leading the way from his younger brother Byron Johnson by 39 points. And Finlay Paul Hill, who broke his arm last time round, who couldn't race, is third in the championship.
I believe we have a problem for who's that? We have a problem for Sam Gardner. Sam Gardner's had an issue before the race has even started. Anyway, the grid order. We have Byron Johnson in P1 setting a 45.321 in qualifying, followed by Sam Gardner, who is currently in your picture with a problem, with Harrison Day in third, Austin Johnson in fourth, Jensen Bishop down in fifth. We have Matthew Thomas in sixth, Liam Lindquist in seventh, Chloe Gleeson in eighth, Callum Maxwell in ninth, Oliver Hall in 10th, George Ackerman in 11th, and Dylan Tureen in 12th.
Yeah, it's been some great racing so far this weekend in all classes actually that we've had. But will Sam Gardner be able to start the race? We seen earlier on in the AC40 Pros, he looks good, he looked confident, and it's such strong weather here. The rain is pelting down now, but there could be a little delay while we wait to see if Sam Gardner can get his bike restarted, because here at Fab we like to get all the bikes started in the race and getting going just then he can get that extra track time.
Yeah, no, definitely not what he wanted leaving the formation lap. He has got going again now, which is good to see. He won't be making his way around. He has to go as quickly as he can, because otherwise he might get disqualified for not making the grid on time. So as we watch Sam Gardner at number 56 come around now,
more issues again.
Oh no, he's had another problem. This is not good at all for Sam Gardner. Will he make the start?
Yeah, he's pushing his bike off, I think, to the side of the track. He's looking for help, but the bike's looking cut out on him. Yep, the race is starting with no Sam Gardner.
No, we have no one in the P2 spot. So we have the Johnson brothers starting first and third then. Fourth, sorry, right out and away we go. What a start from Byron Johnson as his brother gets a decent start to take second. But can he keep that into turn one as he gets busy? Byron Johnson, what a start. He's already left the grid. He's left the entire field as they go into the S's for the first time, tiptoeing in these horrendous conditions. Puddles everywhere. Entire track surface is slick as you like. As we watch Byron Johnson come down into the hairpin for the first time, very squirrely. Are we going to see every rider make it through here with no problems? No one has low-sided at that corner, which is something that I expected to be seeing.
Yeah, Sam Gardner, it's so disappointing for him, but Byron Johnson, it's been a great result from him so far this year, and he's looking for another one this race. It's so great to see the air-cooled bikes going against the liquid-cooled, but these conditions, they're so treacherous. I mean, it's a Johnson 1-2, just like it's a Johnson 1-2 in the championship right now. Harrison Day, though, is in third place. He wants a good result here. He's already had plenty of track time so far today. Of course, racing also in the pros, just like Matthew Thomas, actually, in the bright green bike. In fourth place right now, Liam Lindquist, though, on that movie star Yamaha MotoGP bike replica livery. He is looking for a way past Matthew Thomas right now for fourth place.
This is certainly not over until they cross the finish line, as we see the number 128 of Matthew Thomas going very, very wide, allowing Liam Lindquist to overtake him on the inside of the hairpin. So yeah, as I said, a race of attrition. This is going to be difficult for all the lads out there. this is over when they cross the line. Anyone could fall off at any given minute because they aren't going to have the most grip out there.
Yeah, and they're not going to have the heat in the tyres the same. This first couple laps, it's just building up the heat. But it looks like, actually, Austin Johnson is taking the lead in this race. Austin Johnson's got past Byron, so a slight mistake there from Byron, as his last lap was a 54.3. That is not what he wants. I mean, Austin at 52.8. That's an incredible lap time. Maybe he's just fell out the conditions now. And maybe now, Harrison Day can also get past Byron. Can Byron just stay calm and not get too flustered by this? I mean, Austin Johnson right now leads the way and he looks so confident in these conditions.
If you run a millimetre wider than you normally would, you could hit a puddle that you didn't know was there, and it could send you off the track, which might have happened to Byron Johnson last lap, losing 2 seconds, which is not something that we usually see from Byron Johnson.
Yeah, it's certainly not. And I mean, you can just see from the pictures at your home how slick this track is now, how wet it is, and you can see a slight join in the track there. You want to stay off that, it's so wet, and then you come round this left kink, there's a new patch of tarmac that does carry some water, so you just want to stay off that as well. But I believe it's Oliver Hall getting past Jenson Bishop as well, and Matthew Thomas for 5th place. That is a great ride so far from Oliver Hall. Oliver Hall, of course, last year's rookie champion. He's wanting to develop his skills. I saw some tests on the many GP50s. So Oliver Hall, great ride so far in 5th place, and only 6 laps to go in this race. It's still Johnson 1-2, but Austin leads the way.
Yeah, no, it's very clear that many riders out there are opting for different lines around this track, which means that we could see some very, very large differences between sector splits as we are watching Matthew Thomas following Oliver Hall around the very, very slippy horseshoe. But who knows? Will Matthew Hall make a mistake? Can Matthew Thomas make a move?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see as we come across the break, the timing beam to have 5 laps to go in this race. Austin Johnson still leads, but it's his brother Byron who set the fastest lap of the race that time round, 4 tenths faster than Austin that time round, and now the gap's just 4 tenths for a second. So technically, Byron Johnson could potentially catch up to his brother this lap, and Byron is just showing Harrison Day the way, showing Harrison Day the lights, and showing Harrison Day what to do so he could drag them. But there's confirmation of that fastest lap, a 51.4 from Byron Johnson, sitting in 2nd place. It definitely looks like that gap has reduced from his brother.
Wheel-to-wheel riding is very, very difficult in these sort of conditions, especially with your brother. Can he make a move into the final corner here? He's gonna have a look, but no, not quite. Can he set himself up for a better exit going down the start-finish straight as he tucks into the slipstream to go down the start-finish straight, goes right through the wet patch of tarmac into turn 1. Very, very slippery there. It's admirable for them to opt for that line through there, because we see some riders sticking with the drier outside line. We also have a puddle right on the inside of the S's, which we can also see all of the riders avoiding, but still Austin Johnson out in front.
Yeah, it's Harrison Day now though, it's the fastest lap of the race with 51.2. The top 3 riders on the 51s, but another rider to look out for is Oliver Hall. He's in the 52s, he's faster than Liam Lindquist that time round, when Liam Lindquist in 4th place. So just 4 laps to go. This race is not over yet. Austin Johnson has not got his tied up. He has Byron and Harrison Day just behind him and just lurking with 4 laps to go in this race as we head round the final corner to then make it 3 laps to go. Time is closing down for Byron and Harrison, and it's 1 step closer for Austin to win this race. But a 7/10 of a second gap is nothing in these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have a battle between Matthew Thomas, Oliver Hall and Liam Lindquist brewing as they go towards turn 1. We saw a few of the riders opting for the different lines through the blind kink, and it just depends. It can change lap on lap as they come towards the chicane now. Very, 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 very tidy from everyone, as Matthew Thomas seems to have got a good run out there. Can he make a move into the hairpin?
Yeah, Liam Lindquist right now just trying his best. He'll be able to hear that Oliver Hall and Matthew Thomas is caught up behind them, because you can hear motorcycles around you, and you'll be able to know that then it's trying not to maybe go a bit too defensive. But actually, looking by the picture that we're seeing, Liam Lindquist's visor is steamed up. So maybe that's why we're seeing Liam Lindquist drop back and not doing the lap times that we expect him to be doing. I mean, you could just see a slight fog gaze over his visor. That visor is completely steamed up. It's so difficult to see. Occasionally, if you have a steamed up visor, whenever a raindrop lands it, you can see out a raindrop. It's such a strange experience, but it's so difficult to put in the lap times as Byron Johnson puts in the lap times with 50.6, 3/10 faster than his brother.
Yeah, the minute your visor fogs up, especially in the rain, you do have a problem, because obviously with more moisture in the air around you, it makes it difficult to not get moisture on the inside of your visor, especially in races of attrition like this, where you have to keep breathing, you have to keep yourself physically okay. As they go into the final corner to begin the final lap of this race, can Byron Johnson mount a move on his brother Austin Johnson with the fastest lap of the race at the moment? Harrison Day gets a good exit at the final corner, but as we see that taking different lines through the first kink, can he make a move down into turn one? Not quite, no. It's a bit of a gap opening up as Austin Johnson seems to have control of this race, but it only takes a millimetre difference to hit a puddle and go wide, like we saw with Byron Johnson earlier on. So watching them come towards the hairpin now, can Austin Johnson do this cleanly? Will he hit a puddle? Oh, we've got a big crash in the background there. Jason Bishop is off his bike, the number 11 machine, as we're watching Austin Johnson now coming into the horseshoe with Byron Johnson right behind him. Can Byron mount a move into the final corner here? Austin has to tiptoe through this section to not risk losing it all as they go towards the final corner. Can Austin mount a move? No, Byron seems to have it all sorted as he exits the final corner to come around Blind Billy's to cross the line and win the race, followed by his brother and Harrison Day completing the top three. What a race that was. Race of attrition, fantastic battles all throughout the pack. Very, very, very wet surface as we see the two brothers next to each other on track. I'm sure Byron's not going to be happy with losing out to his brother, but you have to be a little bit happy for your brother in these kind of racing championships. So fantastic 1-2 for the Johnson brothers, with Harrison Day in third, Liam Lindquist in fourth, Oliver Hall in fifth, Matthew Thomas in sixth, George A. Ackerman in seventh, Jensen Bishop in eighth, Chloe Gleason in ninth, and Dylan Tureen in 10th, with Callum Maxwell and Sam Gardner in 11th and 12th. Oh, that was a fantastic race.
Yeah, it was a superb ride there from Austin Johnson. He has an 8/10 of a second lead across the line. Byron, his brother, so Johnson 1-2, just like in the championship, pretty much exactly. But yeah, Austin Johnson wins the race with Byron, his brother, in second. Harrison Day, great result once again, just coming home in third. Quite a heroic ride, to be honest. And here's your top 10. 8/10 of a second gap, as I said. Liam Lindquist comes home in fourth after having that visor issue, with Oliver Hall in fifth. Matthew Thomas in sixth place on that bright green bike, which is so easy to see around the track, and George Ackerman in seventh. Jensen Bishop in the eighth, with Chloe Gleason coming home in ninth. One of our female riders, as I mentioned, Dylan Tureen, will be coming home to round out the top 10.
Yeah, phenomenal race in very, very tough conditions. Great from everyone out on track. It's a surprise that we didn't see more chaos, to be honest. It was a lot cleaner than I was expecting all the way from the start. So yeah, fantastic from all of the riders out on track. What a race that was.
Yeah, so it was. And one of the marshals maybe making a note of that result, because it was a pretty good race. High action, high drama, and once again we have drama with the weather system.
As we are watching the mini F1 sidecar arriving out to the grid.
Yeah, now with this mini F1 sidecars, all eyes are going to be on McWilliams, because it is wet, it is so tricky. Can McWilliams' win streak come to an end? The green streaks are going to want to end it, the Keats are going to want to end it. There's so many riders out there, and the Keats, they're so exciting to watch on that outfit on dry conditions, never mind in the wet. So McWilliams, what will they do? I see actually McWilliams' passenger with his visor open, which is quite a dangerous thing to do because it can steam up, as you mentioned earlier, with moisture getting inside of it. But now we wait as they head onto the warm-up lap.
Yeah, no, the green streaks in second there, the number 90 sidecar, blue and black, you cannot miss them, wanting to make an impact at this race to try and beat Mick Williams for once this season, as we also have the Keats on that 666 machine, red and black. You cannot miss them, repping obviously the number 666, stating their intentions on the racetrack. So yeah, sidecar racing, especially in the rain, definitely a challenge.
Yeah, certainly is. McWilliams, of course, on pole position with Greenstreet starting alongside them. Jacob Keats on the Keats bike will be starting third, with Vince Bailey in fourth. Mark Parker's outfit will be starting fifth, with John Hosker in sixth, and Chris Impey will be rounding out the grid. And what is a 7 sidecar grid? Although it's not a big class, it produces great racing. And now Will McWilliams' win streak come to an end? It's so tricky out there. The rain is still pelting down,
especially after his spin earlier on in very similar conditions. So can Mick Williams finish this race without any mistakes? It remains to be seen so far.
Yeah, now what is going to happen? We have no clue what's going to happen. But there's John Hosker on your screen. Picked the fairing out of the bed, it had moss, it had everything on it, and they are racing with it. This is what sidecar racing is. It's pure passion. But now the riders are going to get to show and express their passion on track as they wait to look up to the lights, wait for the points of lights, which is there. The lights will go on, the 3 lights, and then off they go. They will race down turn 1, lights are on and lights are off, and we are racing. Mick Williams makes a bad start, and it's Jason Greenstreet who makes contact with Keats off the line, which has meant they've got Jason Keats, and it's Greenstreet that leads the way. I am lost for words. Will this be the end of it? Win streak? It's Keats in third place who will want to try and get past McWilliams, just try and knock them out of their rhythm. But it's McWilliams looking for any way past, but now Greenstreet's to be as defensive as possible.
Yeah, no, we had the Keats have a little bit of a moment into the S's at the start of this lap. What a start for the Greenstreets, everything they would have wanted. The Keats tried to have a go around the outside and made contact. We had 3 wide into turn 1 in this race. Absolutely everything that we'd want to see. But as Mick Williams is going to have a look around the outside, but no, there's not going to be a way through here as they round the final corner for the first time to go on to lap 2. The Keats, are having a look at Mick Williams. Can the Keats get past Mick Williams in these treacherous conditions?
Yeah, now this is going to be the real test. What can Mick Williams do? Will they get flustered and a bit worried because this is a long wing street that they have? Will this be the end to it? We have to find out. There's 6 laps to go. There's nothing in this race to go past the quickest. They go wide, and that lets Keats get right onto the back of them. Now Keats is looking for any way past, but it's Greenstreet who still leads the way. GoPro's everywhere for Keats goes down the side of Mick Williams. Mick Williams just gets rammed out the way. Keats showing off their adventurous riding style, to say the least. We've seen them on 2 wheels, we've seen them on no wheels, we've seen them now in second place, but Williams tries to get past again.
Absolutely phenomenal start to this race. Who would have thought that Mick Williams would fall down to third? No one. We have the Greenstreets in first, followed by the Keats, as Mick Williams in the background having a very, 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 very bad moment with a lot of wheel spin, which is obviously to be expected in these weather conditions. Now as we watch now the Greenstreets followed by the Keats, can the Keats have a go? They're on 2 wheels, but can they have a go at the Greenstreets?
Yeah, the Keats, they're so aggressive. You see it there in Mick Williams' move. They take no prisoners. They just slam past them, and you have to get out of their way, otherwise there may be contact. But there's Greenstreets taking a far more defensive line. There was Keats down the inside, and as I said, they make contact. Keats takes no prisoners, but now Greenstreets will not be happy with that. This is their chance to win up in the F1 sidecar race here at FAB. What will Keats do? Greenstreets trying to get past them, go past their final corner now. Their helmet almost touching the ground, but it's still Mick Williams in third place. But there's Chris Impey's outfit and the 2 riders off the bike after going into the tyre wall. But now, I cannot believe I'm saying this, it's Keats that leads the way with 4 laps left.
Yeah, no, absolutely no one could have seen that coming as they made contact with the Greenstreets as they made their move, and the Greenstreets tried to have another go at them, but they went into the grass and lost a lot of momentum on that one. So yeah, no, here we have Mick Williams down in third, and gaps are starting to open out. So can the Keats break away and win this race?
Yeah, the Paddock will go wild if they can do this. They will love to this. This is their opportunity. This is their chance. They need to take it now. Just 4 laps left to go in this race. It's Jacob Keats who leads the way, but it's Mick Williams right now in third place. He is doing about the same pace that Jacob Keats last lap, actually. The only outfit to be in the 52 seconds. Jacob Keats clearly has the pace on that camouflaged outfit. but they set the fastest lap of the race that time round, actually, with a 51.5, leads by 8/10 of a second. McWilliams will do a 53.4. Could it be an issue, or could it just be the conditions?
But remember, this will be a race of attrition given the conditions, as the Keats have just made a mistake. The green streets are all over them again, going towards the hairpin. Are they going to launch and move? Yes, they are. They make contact. They make contact as the green streets make a move into the lead, and the Keats make contact on the exit. They are side by side going towards the horseshoe. The green streets are on the grass as they get the move down the inside. Wow, what a race!
Yeah, and now it's Green Streets who have quite a wet feeling as Keats has some sort of an issue. Keats' right rear wheel seems to be having some sort of an issue with it as they head round the final corner now. It's Green Streets who is cleared off in the distance, but Williams is still not past Keats even with this issue. All Jason Greenstreet needs to do is stay on the bike, but that does not sound good at all. Keats has some sort of issue, maybe some sort of issue with the rear tyre or fairing heading against it. It looks like something's moving about there, but just 2 laps to go in this race, and it's Greenstreet's who leads.
Yeah, no, the Keats are going to have to fight for their lives to keep Mick Williams behind here with their damage. Didn't sound great at all as they went past on the start-finish straight. Sounded like there was some sort of bodywork smack in the ground, which is not what you want in one of these sidecars or any racing vehicle for that matter. So as they come into the horseshoe now, the Keats still maintaining second place, but Mick Williams is slowly approaching. He's stalking the Keats round the final corners. We have a yellow flag. We have a yellow flag towards the final corner.
Yeah, now it's Keats who's fighting for their dear life. Jason Greenstreet is still leading, and Jason Greenstreet is putting, and it sounds like actually it's stuck on the rev limiter there. It sounds like it's not going anywhere anytime soon. McWilliams looks like he may get past on his lap, but it's Jason Greenstreet who sets the fastest lap of the race. Going into the last lap of the race is Jacob Keats still keeps on to it, but now it's Greenstreet who is in the final half lap of this race, and they just need to stay on. They just need to take it home, and then they will win. And mini F1 sidecar race, it will end Mick Williams' dominance. This is so big in the paddock. Everyone will be cheering on Greenstreet right now. Right now, they go around the final corner as Jason Greenstreet's outfit, the Greenstreet's family, wins a mini F1 sidecar race. They take the checker flag, and it's Jacob Keats who can they come home in second place, or Mick Williams. Will they pip him? Yes, they will. Listen to that motorcycle. Jacob Keats comes home. You can hear the crowd. Mick Williams comes home in third place. I was not expecting that going into the weekend, and wow, what an unexpected result as Jason Greenstreet celebrates.
We had some phenomenal action in that race between the Keats and the Greenstreets. Did the Keats get their damage from the battle with the Greenstreets? Obviously there was plenty of contact to be had as they went through the hairpin and the horseshoe, but what a race. Really proving that sidecar racing is to be admired, it is to be watched, and it is serious. There we go, phenomenal. What a race that was, Lewis.
Yeah, it certainly was. And one thing is, what did Mick Williams have an issue, or have we found their weak point? Maybe they just don't like wet, maybe they just don't like the wet conditions, but whatever the case, there's your winners there, Jason Greenstreet, and it's a father-son combination as they look to help out Chris Impey, who of course DNF'd, and that bike has clearly seen better days.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think those better days were yesterday with that new piece of bodywork, but that was a phenomenal race. What a drive from the Greenstreet boys as they pick up one of the pieces of fairing from the Impey outfit. What a race though. Fantastic performance from the Greenstreet boys, and well done to the Keats for keeping Mick Williams behind towards the end.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I was lost for words in that. I could not believe that I just witnessed that. This is a moment of fab mini F1 sidecar history. Mick Williams' domination is over. This is now the time where people around the paddock will be thinking, what is going to happen next? Have they now got inside his head now that win streak is done, or will they come back fighting in race 2? Whatever the case, join us tomorrow for hopefully more of this sidecar race, and that was one of the best, if not the best, mini F1 sidecar race I have seen.
So as we wait for the senior mini motos to go out onto the grid to begin their race 1 of the weekend, Lewis, what do you make of this?
Yeah, it's something that is hard to explain to anyone really that hasn't watched FAB Racing. It is grown adults on kids' bikes. But whatever the case, it produces great racing and it has some great talents in it as well. I mean, Will Howarth, as you've just seen the Moto team race, who won it in honourable fashion, will be starting this race and will be looking for another great result.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As they're on the grid now, the rain is still coming down ever so lightly. The track will have been dried by those sidecars without a shadow of a doubt. However, the rain is still pitter-pattering on that surface, so I'm sure we will see the weather have an effect on the race as we see just how damp the tarmac is underneath one of those treaded tyres within these mini motos.
Yeah, these mini motos not having a wet tyre for it, so it's just hoping that it can cut in and that it can disperse enough water that's on this track, which is quite a lot of water that is on this track right now because it's been raining hard here, and the rain still looks like it can still come. Clouds are everywhere around the circuit as we head onto the warm-up track for race 1.
Absolutely. So as they go out now, we have the starting order on pole position. We have Will Howarth, who put in a 42.968 in qualifying, followed by Craig Ashall, who wasn't too far off with a 42.9. Well, I mean, it was the exact same time. We've never seen that one before. If you missed the qualifying session earlier, basically Will Howarth and Craig Ashall put in the exact same lap time, which is phenomenal and really goes to prove how close these bikes are. So in P3 we have Josh Birkin with Matt Birkin in P4, Nick Bennett in P5 with Chris Yeomans in P6, Reece Gentry in P7 with Callum White in P8. We have Elliot Searle in P9 with Ross Michael in P10. We have Alberto Vencio in P11 with Shannon King in P12. We have Lamar Morgan in P13 with Duncan Diper in P14. We have David Miat in P15 with Jerome Richards in P16, with Rob Gentry and Paul Bayliss filling out the final row.
Yeah, it appears there's some issues for some riders on that warm-up lap. The warm-up laps here are providing just as much action as the racing. I mean, every single lap here counts in these conditions, just learning the track, learning the surface as we wait for race 1 this year, mini motos, and what should be a great race. Riders now just warming up, almost a mini burnout just to warm their tyres as the rider cuts the grass and cuts the circuit just to quickly get to the grid so it doesn't get too delayed.
Yeah, no, we have a very wet piece of tarmac on the inside of the track as well, so the rider starting on the left of your picture might have trouble getting away. That's something that we have seen in the previous couple races. As we wait for the red lights to be pointed to for the start of this senior mini moto race, we're waiting for the grid to line up fully and get the go-ahead. So as we wait, they're waiting.
Yeah, now we wait for the final checks to be done on the grid. The tension now is rising on the grid. All riders have pure focus because they know these conditions are so tricky. But Will Howarth, Craig Ashland qualifying, literally nothing separating them, and as we point to the lights, they both stare at the lights. We wait for the lights to go on before they'll go off. Lights are on and lights are now off, and we are racing here for race 1, the senior mini motos, and it's an excellent start by Will Howarth. Will Howarth leads the way, of course, won the Moto team race earlier on, but it is Josh Birkins that is just behind him on that number 2 motorcycle. So now what is going to happen as we head round the first lap? Everyone's been so tentative, they're feeling out the conditions, but Craig Ashall drops on the floor. This is quite a big heavy crash involving 3 riders.
That's a big one, Lewis. That's a very big one with 3 bikes off
Shannon
the road
King.
as we should be returning to the lead of the race here. It's very, very treacherous conditions as into the hairpin we've had a couple riders make some overtakes. Wow, what a start to this race. We had the drivers on the left compromised by the slippery surface, and I'm not sure where we are with everything.
Yeah, it's been a hectic start to the race to say the least, but now we cut back to race the lead, and it is actually going to be Matt Birkins as well. However, I believe fell at the hairpin. He was one of the riders that made the mistake and fallen at the hairpin. He thought it was too wet for the Moto team. Now it's even more wet for the mini motos. He's made the mistake and it's cost him. He's dropped down to 7th place in this race. It's a Birkin 1-2. Matt Birkin leads his brother Josh, and Craig Ashall, who started on pole position, is down in 3rd place.
Yeah, no, we're going to have a very, very tight fight for this lead though. However, with Matt and Josh Birkin, obviously they're going to push each other to the limit, with Matt Birkin currently having the fastest lap of the race with a 51.471 as these riders go into the final corner now. Oh, who's that off wide?
The conditions right now are showing to be so tricky for these riders, but Matt still leads Josh, and Craig Ashall is quite a distance behind right now. Both the Birkin brothers are in the 49s right now, while we're still waiting for Craig Ashall to cross the line. As Nick Bennett actually crosses line third place, as he sits at 52.9. So the Birkin brothers right now are 3 seconds faster than everyone else, and there is Alberto Venteo with an issue on that 44 bike. Of course, the number inspired by Paul Espargaro and MotoGP as he tries to get his bike started. I believe he has, but all eyes out in front of what is a very, very wet very wet Dorset circuit.
Yeah, but anything can happen in this race, Lewis. All it takes is to hit a damper patch of tarmac than you're used to, and you're off into the wall, you know. So what can Josh Birkin do to answer his brother's pace at the moment as he gains down the start-finish straight, going down into turn 1? You can tell how wet that track surface is. You can see them tiptoeing round.
Yeah, now as you can see, the track is absolutely drenched. Matt Birkin though setting a 48.5, the only person in the 48, and Rhys Gentry actually is also falling down this race. I mentioned earlier in qualifying, if you joined us, that he had a monumental save in practice earlier on. It looks like he almost saved on. It looks like he almost saved it, but and he was down the deck. But right now, Matt Birkin looks like he's loving the conditions. He's loving leading the race and loving leading the race in the rain, which is such a difficult thing to do. And to come to lap what I believe is Alberto Venteo, which of course had that issue just a couple laps ago. So Alberto Venteo just hoping on scoring some points from some other riders' misfortune.
Yeah, no, this grid is very, very mixed up at the moment, with back markers already having an effect on the man in first, Josh Birkin. But we'll have to wait and see, can he manoeuvre around them more effectively than his brother Matt Birkin as they go into the hairpin. Look how wet those puddles are as they exit the corner, go towards the horseshoe now, and round the outside goes the number 2 of Josh Birkin of some traffic, and his brother follows him through. So the back markers haven't actually had much of an effect on this race between these brothers.
Yeah, the back markers haven't had too much effect, but last lap I believe they may have just got in the way slightly of Matt and let Josh pass. So now Josh is on the loose. Both riders in the 48s last lap. Alberto Venteo, more issues with his motorcycle. He's just trying to score some points, but it's Josh Birkin who leads by just 1/10 of a second, which is so impressive from these two brothers in such tricky conditions. And Nick Bennett right now in third place, still waiting for him to cross the line right now. Nick Bennett though 13 seconds back from the brothers, and there's some more riders with some more issues. It's so tricky, and that is David Mayat in the number 22 motorcycle that was sitting in 7th place.
Yeah, as we see Matt Birkin now taking a wider line than his brother. Can he cut in on the exit here and go down the inside? And he makes contact! He makes contact with his brother. Josh Birkin is off. I was about to say, if there's any contact, it's not going to be a friendly discussion later on. The red flag comes out. What does that mean for this race?
Yeah, the race has been red flagged, and can I just say it was so impressive from Birkin there. He just lost the front slightly in these tricky wet conditions, and he stayed on to it, and he managed to keep it running. He barely fell off it. I mean, he slid to the grass and practically just able to put his weight and his strength just to set up the bike for the races. Of course, red flagged right now. We wait to see what's happened. You can tell by our red flag graphic that's on the left hand side of your screen. We just wait and see what's going to happen with this race. It's so tricky right now. I mean, just looking at the rain, you can see it falling on your screens. The marshals all have their hoods up, and yeah, it's the wettest I've seen here at a FAB round.
The cameras don't even do it justice either. It looks a lot worse in real life to the eye. So who's going to be the winner of this race? Will it revert back to the previous lap?
And we're just going to have to wait and see. It may be called a race, but we're just going to have to wait for official confirmation from race control. But it was a great race. We're expecting more of the Birkin bashing. I mean, if you've obviously done this your first round, but I know you have been watching and catch some FAB at home, and you would know the Birkin brothers, they like battling. Although they're brothers, they have full elbows out, and it's almost like they're not brothers on track. But right now, race control is of course deciding the result, because it is treacherous out there, and it's treacherous for these riders and everyone watching and supporting.
Yeah, no, your brother's probably, other than your teammate, well, I mean, if your brother is your teammate, he is your biggest rival. So Matt Birkin and Josh Birkin definitely been tussling out there on the track. Not how we like to see it end, however, but it's something we see in multiple classes. We've got the Birkin brothers in this, we've got the Johnson brothers in other categories. So yeah, no, not unusual to see brothers colliding out on track.
Yeah, it's certainly not, and we've just got through our headphones. It's been a 6-lap restart to this race. So the grid order, so that race that we've just had is practically useless. I mean, everything you've just watched there does not count towards this race. It's just going to be the normal grid, so it's not going to be from the last lap. So it's going to help a lot of riders that have had issues in that first restart, such as Alberto Vinteo, just to name one, who's had multiple bike issues and multiple issues that race. Now he gets a complete clean slate and a clean chance to start from 11th place, for example.
Yeah, no, it was entertaining nonetheless, although it doesn't mean anything for the outcome of the race now. It was still a very, very exciting race to watch as the rain is coming down even harder than it was before. The track is starting to get a bit reflective. It's that wet. It's very, very slick out there. So we'll have to wait and see for when this race will get going again.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait, and maybe we might wait till the rain dies down slightly because it is really heavy right now. But, of course, these riders, some of them being very, very experienced, but actually we're just getting told restart is expected in the next few minutes. We shouldn't be waiting too long to see bikes bashing bars back on track.
Yeah, no, so I'm assuming the red flag was for the sheer amount of riders who had gone down, and there was a rider who was receiving medical attention, we've been informed, but he's on his feet and well.
Yeah, now we're just waiting. The riders just having a slight discussion right now, and maybe just talk about that first half of the race, and maybe there was some slight contact or some slight dodgy moves that they don't like, or maybe they're just laughing about the hard racing that happens here in the senior mini motos, because most, if not all, of the riders are friends off track and are able just to have a laugh about it because they do this because they love it. And yeah, it should be a great restart. 6 laps, plenty of time. We only had 4 laps left, so we're getting another 2 laps of racing from what we would actually have.
But that also is excellent news for Will Howarth, who will be on the front row again after a very, very difficult start to that race run. So we're going to have Craig Ashell and Will Howarth leading away. So will we see the Birkin brothers regain their form from this race and take the lead again? Because we've seen some fantastic racing, but unfortunately it didn't count because we need to go racing again.
Yeah, although it didn't count, the riders still would have learned a lot from them conditions and from the track time that they had. Track time is absolutely key in these conditions. Although it changes lap to lap, it's still the added time on a wet track, on the mini-mo, on this track, because one thing that is different at each track is how the tarmac responds in the wet. I mean, some tracks can be so grippy in the wet, while others it feels like you're riding on oil all the time. It's such a mix, and it's such a mix of abilities as well at FAB, and it's great to see the community atmosphere and being able just to help all the riders develop. And we're waiting for this restart to get underway, and you can just see it. There's discussing a lot of things. Maybe even they're pointing out a lot of things to some riders. Maybe they're like, this part of the track is extremely slippy.
Well, help their rivals.
Yeah, help their rivals pretty much, because at the end of the day, they're all friends and they all want to have a laugh, even if it's close, hard racing and they may get a bad result. Sometimes it's better to have a close, hard race with as many people as possible and just have fun rather than just have a dominant race, as we hear that riders should be heading around to grid now to have 1 warm-up lap and 6 laps of racing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the riders who did not finish that section will return to the race. Do you have any news on that?
Certainly not yet, but I believe they should be able to restart, as it was quite a big grid, and it was a fall, but they didn't cause the red flag, so I believe they should be able to restart because it is from original grid positions, as we wait for these riders just to get back onto it. And yeah, we just wait for the riders for their 1 warm-up lap and then 6 racing laps. Marshall there signifying 1 warm-up lap that they'll get, as Will Howarth and Craig Ashell start on the front row with the same times. Will Howarth on pole position with Craig Ashell in second. The 2 Birkin brothers, Josh Birkin starting in 3rd with Matt Birkin starting in 4th. Nick Bennett's starting the 3rd row in 5th place with Chris Yeomans in 6th. Reece Gentry in 7th, Callum White in 8th. Elliot Searle will be starting in 9th with Ross Michael rounding off the 5th row of the grid. Alberto Ventile, we've just seen quite a lot of issues in that last race. We'll be starting 11th of Shannon King, who will be starting 12th. Lamar Morgan will be starting 13th with Duncan Diaper in 14th. David Mayat will be starting 15th with German Richards
that's
in
Craig
16th.
Ashall.
And there's Craig Ashall.
No,
it's not.
it's
I believe that is Will Howarth. As
not
Rob
again.
Gentry as well will be starting 17th, and Paul Bayliss will be rounding off the grid in 18th position as Will Howarth comes to the grid last because he did have that tip off, but maybe he's just trying out a new line that he knows now definitely not to take in the race.
Yeah, exactly. As we said beforehand, anything can happen in this series, even on the warm-up lap, but as long as he can return to the main grid, he will be okay. So as we have a brand new race here in the senior mini motos, what can happen? Will we see a repeat of what happened in the first half of this race, or will we see something completely different? Will Howarth get a better start as we point to the lights? The lights come on! And we go racing in the senior mini motos. Great start from Will Howarth. That's one of the Birkin brothers going around the outside. Craig Ashall as they go towards turn 1. 3 wide back there at 1 point, but Will Howarth has kept the lead with Josh Birkin right on his tail into the S's.
Yeah, certainly it was a great start from Will Howarth. Will Howarth leads the way, and Will Howarth, he wants to try and get away, so he has a big enough gap not to worry, but it is Josh Perkins who now takes the lead. The race as a rider goes down there and then goes into the tyre wall there, but straight onto his feet, which is what we love to see, and straight away just trying to get the bike restarted, and he has kept it going, so it shouldn't affect him too much. But Will Howarth right now in second place right now, but Josh Perkins leads the way after going round the outside of Will Howarth, but Will Howarth under some extreme pressure right now from Rhys Gentry.
Matt Birkin right on the back of Will Howarth, I believe, as they go round the blind billies for the first time into turn 1. All over the back of him. Who's that making a move in the background? I'm not too sure, but Craig Ashall keeps that place. So yeah, Josh Birkin repeating what he did in the first race. In this race, taking the lead very early on, and he's going to try his best to check out here. So what is going to happen for the remainder of this race? That will soon remain to be seen.
Yes, certainly. I mean, right now we just see Rhys Gentry trying to find any way past Will Howarth. He's done it round the outside, and there's Craig Ashall defending as hard as he can from Nick Bennett. Of course, not the start that Craig Ashall would have wanted to give. Of course, starting on the front row of the grid, the same time as pole position, but starting second place. So he's dropped back to 4th. Maybe he's just trying to pick up championship points, as this is round 4 of the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. So they may just be wanting to get some points. But one person whose restart has helped so much was Alberto Ventile. He is up to 7th place after, of course, having 2 issues last time round and before the race got red flagged. And Matt Birkins actually has fallen that lap and dropped all the way to 9th position, but he has set the fastest lap of the race with 48.5.
Yeah, no, phenomenal for Matt Birkin. Phenomenal lap, especially in these conditions, but definitely not the start he would have wanted, with his brother Josh Birkin obviously taking the lead there. Really not replicating what he did in the start of this race, but he does have the chance to come back through, as he has David Mayat in front of him. But as we watch Will Howarth now with Nick Bennett right on his tail going into the final corner here, the conditions are still absolutely treacherous, but it seems as if the rain has backed off a little bit. So as they come round blind billies for the second time this race across the wet patch of tarmac, so you can see the different lines the riders are taking. Is that a move for the... Yeah, that is a move into turn 1.
Yeah, that's Rhys Gentry and Will Howarth battling still, but just 3 laps to go in this race. Josh Birkins leads the way by 3.7 seconds. Rhys Gentry in second place, and Will Howarth, of course, who has seen dominate practically. And there's Rhys Gentry down on the deck.
Someone else went off.
So that's promoted Will Howarth into second, but more riders crashing out, checking that each other's okay. A little pat on the back, straight onto their feet, straight onto the bikes, and straight back restarted. So that's helped Chris Yeoman even more.
Yeah, no, not good for Chris Yeomans there, though. He could not get his bike going. The number 85, has he got it going now? It remains to be seen as we watch the 711 car of Nick Bennett coming across the line. Matt Birkin is back in P4. What's happened there?
Yeah, Matt Birkin, a brilliant ride up into P4. All that chaos that's happened in front of him has allowed him to catch up, but not just the chaos, the 47.6 that he's just put in. I mean, Josh Birkins, he's set his fastest lap of the race, which is only 49.1. Still extremely fast in these conditions, but still 2 seconds off his brother Matt Burkins, who's looking to make ground. He does, as he goes round the outside of Will Howarth with just 2 laps to go in this race. With Matt Burkins all the way up into second place. It's back to Burkins 1-2 with 2 laps to go.
That is one phenomenal ride back through the pack from Matt Burkin. I don't believe he'll be close enough to his brother to make a move before the end of this race, but as we go on to the final lap of the race here, we watch Will Howarth come through your shot with Nick Bennett, the 711 car, right behind him. He's going for a lunge into turn 1. Not quite. It's very, very risky to make that kind of move in the dry, let alone in the wet, as they come in to the S's for the final time this race. Can Nick Bennett mount a move on Will Howarth here?
Yes, certainly. I mean, Will Howarth is trying what's kind of in third place right now, but Josh Burkins leads the way by 7.3 seconds, so he just needs to bring it home. But there is the man of the moment. There is Josh Burkins. He celebrates as he tips in to the final corner. Josh Burkins, known for showboating. This is the time to showboat. He crosses the line, he shows P1, and he wins the race by quite a margin over his brother Matt Burkins. The Burkin household will be delighted with that result, as there's a rider down on that final lap there.
I believe that is the number. Oh, we have another rider down, number 71 of Shannon King.
Yeah, Shannon King trying to get the bike restarted as quick as she can in this final lap. Still, though, no luck, and it looks like she realises there's no luck in restarting that. But Josh Burkins wins the race for his brother Matt, and what a ride that was from Matt.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He can be as proud of that as his brother can be of the win. Coming through the field like that in such tricky conditions is phenomenal from Matt Burkin there. What a ride.
Yeah, it's phenomenal as well. Matt Burkin's sportsmanship that he's showing right now to the following riders, checking that he's okay, as he is on his feet and he's limping away, but he's on his feet and somewhat okay, as Josh Burkins wins the race by 5.1 seconds over his brother Matt Burkin. Will Howarth comes home in third place to round off the podium with Nick Bennett in fourth, Rhys Gentry in fifth, with David Mayatz in sixth, Craig Ashall in seventh, Alberto Venteo in 8th, Jerome Richard in 9th, and Chris Yeomans rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, phenomenal race. The conditions proving to be a problem again for these riders. We've been seeing this all day, as even on the final lap, even on the cool down lap, we've had some problems with riders slipping off. So yeah, no, we can expect to see this for the rest of the day as well, because the weather doesn't seem to be making a change.
Yeah, and I believe as well it was a 147 of Rob Gentry who had that quite a big crash in that final lap, but as well as brother Rhys Gentry helping them in and helping the bike back into a safe zone, so it's off the track, and then we can get going with the next race of the day. But it is still a wet day, and you can hear the riders talking in the background now, talking about the race and talking about how difficult that race was to stay on.
Yeah, we apologise if there's a colourful language used. It's pretty tough race out there, so
yeah, it certainly is. It's still tough conditions out there. I mean, the rain's still falling. It's not too bad though. I mean, it is wet, but it's not like what we've seen with the pure downpours. You can still see puddles on the track, small puddles, but these are small bikes, so it's pretty big puddles. And there is quite a group of riders, both the Gentrys, talking to each other, discussing what's happening at race and getting the bikes back to the paddock. That may be the fastest route for them. And a couple of the younger riders as well. I believe that's one of the Johnsons and Matthew Thomas talking to them and discussing what they've seen.
Yeah, that's at the hairpin as well, so they didn't actually make it back round to the pit lane, which is a shame for them, as we watch them walk back off into the paddock, hopefully for a better race tomorrow.
And next up we will have the next race out in what will be very, very tricky conditions for them. I mean, these young riders, this is the final development class for them, and yeah, it's going to be tricky conditions, just like we've seen the senior mini moto class. It's going to be tough, it's going to be wet, but this is the Premier class. This is the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. This is the Premier class of FAB Racing. This is where the riders make their final development to then hopefully go into the British Talent Cup, like we've seen with many. And some riders using wet / their qualifying fairings in this wet race because they know it's going to be a race of attrition.
Yeah, no, this is the race we've all been waiting for, especially within these conditions. These lads out here provide some phenomenal racing on those bikes. So if we go down at the grid order, we have Henry McCartney on pole after a very, very, very strange qualifying session where we had a dry start and we were hit by rain halfway through, so the grid is very jumbled up. So we have Henry McCartney in P1 with a 43.6 at 1.7. We have Samuel Munson in P2 with Ethan Sparks in P3. Marco Holt is in P4 with Blake Wilson in P5. Ronnie Harris in 6th with Noah Guillory in P7. Ollie Sims in 8th. Luke Fitchett, Ruben Gray in 9th and 10th. Henry Payne and Hayden Whiteman filling out the 11th and 12th spots. What do you make of this race?
Yeah, it's certainly not the grid that we usually expect here in the GP7. I mean, Henry McCartney, it's great seeing him on the front row, because this also means he's on the front row for all 3 races, because at FAB your qualifying position determines your grid position for all 3 races. No matter where you finish in the race, it gives really Henry McCartney a great chance here and a great chance to potentially win the race. But Samuel Munson alongside them, Samuel Munson will be looking for a great result. And yeah, of course, in third place we do have the reigning champion Ethan Sparks, wanting to become the first ever FAB-Racing British minibike mini GP70 double champion. It's never happened before, but can it happen? But first off, we have race 1 of the mini GP70 here in Dorset, here at Clay Pigeon, and we wait for the point up to the lights. Everyone off the grid. The start marshal says we wait for the point to the light before they come on and we get underway. Here we go, point to the light. We wait for the lights to come on. The lights are on, the lights are off, and what a great start it looked from Samuel Munson. Samuel Munson, though, bogs down Henry McCartney, who leads the way. Ethan Sparks diving into second place, but it's Marco Holt looking to try and find any way past Samuel Munson, and he does, and it is a great start there from him. But it's Ronnie Harris, the championship leader, going to last round, who fell off, that is looking for it now away passing Samuel Munson. It's quite a spaced out field right now, but I'm sure it'll bunch up, because just like usual, the main GP70s give us great racing.
Yeah, Ronnie Harris didn't quite get the start he would have wanted to get at the start of this race, but he has already made some inroads into the field. He has already made a couple of overtakes from the outside of turn 1 and into the S's. Can he make his way to the front of this field to give Henry McCartney a run for his money? We'll have to just wait and see about that one.
Yeah, we saw it well. Henry McCartney, of course, looking slightly different in this race, running just a pure white normal fairing. I believe that's probably either qualifying fairing he's using or a rain fairing, because it's so easy to make a mistake. He just doesn't want to damage his normal fairings, which is completely understandable. But Blake Wilson, actually in 4th place right now, he's impressing me a lot. I mean, I said it in qualifying and I'll say it again, he's so confident in the rain, and it's where you really see him. You've seen the last round, Blake Wilson near the up front, which surprised both me and my other commentator. But it's Henry McCartney right now who leads the way with the fastest lap of the race so far. But the thing is, he does have Ethan Sparks behind him, and Ethan Sparks is no slouch. But we have a massive battle of riders tiptoeing around this treacherous track. It's Samuel Munson who leads this. I believe this is 5th place, all the way down to about 10th.
As Luke Fitchett makes a move there into the final corner, but doesn't quite get it. What a gaggle of bikes we have here. Obviously we're going to have multiple lines and puddles all over the track, so this is carnage waiting to happen as they go round Blind Billy's, going on to 9 laps to go. Into turn 1 they go now. I think that's Luke Fitchett's fallen back. Yeah, falling back a bit, back into the 4th in this pack, down into P9 I believe, which is not where Luke Fitchett wants to be. He just doesn't seem to have the confidence in these conditions at all. So currently Henry McCartney dominating this race out front, with Ethan Sparks in 2nd, as they come out into the hairpin now with Luke Fitchett making a move. And no, that's Marco Holt. Marco Holt is off his bike.
Marco Holt, that is not what he was wanting. Marco Holt, he was quite a bit down in the pack, not where we expected to see him, but he's down on the deck, and it's not what he wanted. But it's so easy to make a mistake as we see the 2 Vision Track bikes, and we're just seeing Marco Holt's dad run into him now, picking him up and carrying him away out of any danger. But Henry McCartney still leads this race as Marco Holt crashes out with 9 laps to go in this race, as both the Vision Track bikes come round in tandem. The Vision Track team, they're doing a great job at giving young and up-and-coming talent a step up to even the MotoGP paddock. I mean, the Vision Track team, they have all the way from FAB-Racing all the way up to the Moto 3 World Championship. They have British Talent Cup teams, European Talent Cup teams. They have everything, so it gives young riders a real opportunity now in the UK.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ronnie Harris itching to get past his teammate, but he can't quite find a way through. These guys need to work together to hunt after Henry McCarthy, who's currently breaking away. As Ronnie Harris looks to the inside down into the hairpin, it could just be a different line. However, it looks like he was trying to line up a move, but this is the fight that we want to see. These two awesome riders coming together on track.
Yeah, it certainly is. And their teammates, although their teammates on track, they are ruthless, and they're both two young and up and coming talents. Ronnie Harris leading the championship up until last round, and Ethan Sparks last year's champion. So they both have a pretty good CV on them this year, and they both want a pretty good result in this race. They're both fighting for second place right now. Ethan Sparks just 6.1 seconds back, so right now he doesn't want to be getting in too much of a battle with his teammate. But the thing is, Ronnie Harris will not be thinking that. Ronnie Harris, all he'll be thinking is, I think I'm faster than Ethan, I want past Ethan, as I want to go to Henry McCartney. All racers at the end of the day think they're faster than the rider in front of them, and well, time's going to tell who is the faster riders. Right now, Henry McCartney is the fastest rider on track for 44.6 that time round, 6.1 second gap.
Yeah, no, exactly. Henry McCartney is taking this race by the horns as we see Ronnie Harris. Ronnie Harris has got a much better exit there. He's on the inside into Blind Billy's, but he doesn't quite have the room to make a move as they come up to a back marker as well. So Ethan Sparks has to take a deep line into turn one. Ronnie Harris is going to be all over the back of him as they approach the S's now. Can Ronnie Harris force an error? Oh, and that's a big one for Ronnie Harris. Ronnie Harris crashes out of third place. Ouch.
Yeah, Ronnie Harris, he's just checking that everything's okay with him before he goes back on the bike. Quite a big high side there, and yeah, he was just pushing as hard as he can. He was just trying to find any way to get past Ethan Sparks, but Ethan Sparks will not know just yet that he's out. But now, all eyes are on this man here, Henry McCartney, making his way through the back markers, which is half the field right now. He just has another leg on them. He's just showing some great pace as now Ronnie Harris tries to get the bike restarted, and he has just before he gets lapped. So he's still on the same lap as these boys that are coming up behind him, and now it's time for Ronnie Harris just to salvage some points.
Yeah, no, Henry McCarthy though in a completely different race to Ethan Sparks at the moment, lapping most of the grid at this point. He's got one hand on the win of this race, but it's so dangerous saying that because look at these conditions. Anything can happen, as we saw with Ronnie Harris. So who can eventually win this race? Henry McCartney's looking pretty likely.
Yeah, Henry McCartney right now is looking like a dominant force in this race. Last time round was a 5.6 second lap, a 5.6 second lead. So now we just have to wait and see what the gap is now to Ethan Sparks, because obviously he did have to go through some back markers, but Sparks is 5.9 seconds behind now. Sparks still has more back markers to get through. So right now the race is in Henry McCartney's hands. He just needs to stay on it. Such tricky conditions.
Yeah, McCartney's also still running his qualifying fairing. Perhaps he's opted to do that due to the tricky conditions, just in case anything did happen, as we have 4 laps to go. Fastest lap of the race is still held by Henry McCartney with a 44.629, worlds ahead of anyone else in this race so far, with Sparks in P2, Wilson in P3, and Luke Fitchett up into P4, trying to secure a better result than he had earlier on.
Yes, I mean, Henry McCartney, great lead right now from him, great ride. Ethan Sparks, the last year's champion, of course, just trying, and it's a real race of attrition once again. But it's 3 laps to go in this race, and we believe if he does win, this will be his first ever GP70 win, we think. So Henry McCartney, this is his moment, this is his time. He needs to take this opportunity.
Yeah, he needs to be calculated. He can't get complacent here. Just because he has a 9.8 second gap to Ethan Sparks doesn't mean that he can take his eye off the ball at any moment, because this track is so damp. You go 30 centimetres offline, you're hitting a puddle, you could be off. So this is not going to be easy for Henry McCartney. He has just lapped third place of Blake Wilson. Henry McCartney has nearly lapped the entire grid with just Ethan Sparks left. 9 or 10 seconds back now. Henry McCartney has taken this race by the horns. He has shown that he is a serious contender within this series.
Yeah, he certainly is, and this is one thing that I was talking about earlier. You have wet riders that just adapt to the wet straight away, while some other riders take a bit more time to develop into the conditions. But right now, Ronnie Harris has dropped all the way down to 6th position right now, or 4th on their timing screens. So Ronnie Harris, he still can salvage some points from this and still get a pretty good result and some valuable championship points, which of course he lost. But we go into the last lap of this race, and it's Henry McCartney who dominates it with an 11-second lead.
Yeah, as we watch Henry McCartney come around Blind Billy's for the last time this race, going towards turn 1, he can relax now. He needs to just relax. He can't over push on this lap at all. Don't do anything silly, Henry. Just get your bike to the finish line and you will get what we think is your first win in this category. As we watch Henry McCarthy now come in to the hairpin, keeping it very, very easy, splashing through the puddles, but not unsettling the bike. He is so smooth out there, which is so important in these wet conditions. You have to be smooth. You can't ride the bike in a rigid way at all. So as he comes around the horseshoe for the final time, goes into the final corner in some treacherous conditions, Henry McCarthy comes around the final corner, weighs his wrist and comes across the finish line to win this GP70s race around Clay Pigeon Raceway.
Yeah, it was a great ride from Henry McCartney. We're still waiting for Ethan Sparks to cross the line, but 3rd place actually crossed the line before Ethan Sparks because of the lap traffic. But Ethan Sparks just waited to cross the line, obviously, because of all the lap traffic. It meant they finished 14.8 seconds behind. But Henry McCartney, nothing you can take away from it. It was a great result. There's confirmation. There is your winner. Henry McCartney wins over Ethan Sparks, and Ronnie Harris crashes and comes home in 3rd place in the Vision Track bike.
Yeah, no, these 3 lads were in a different league to everyone else today. Ronnie Harris, as you mentioned, having a monumental accident, getting back on the bike and still rescuing a podium, just goes to show how much pace he has within that Vision Track motorcycle. What a ride from all of the top 3. Henry McCartney, take a bow. What a race that was.
Yeah, it certainly was, and what a ride. But there is Ethan Sparks just going around, but it's Henry McCartney who wins this race over Ethan Sparks, and Ronnie Harris coming home in 3rd place. Blake Wilson, great ride from him, 4th, with Luke Fitchett in 5th. Ruben Bray in 6th, with Noah Gilroy come home in 7th. Ollie Sims in 8th, and Samuel Munson in 9th, and Harry Payne finishes in 10th position. So now we will wait for what is going to be the last race of the day. It is the Pit Bike 140s. The Pit Bike 140s is such an incredible class, and it's going to be the last race of the day, so all riders are going to push absolutely everything and to get every single little bit out of these motorcycles. I mean, these pit bikes mainly the lesser known brands, and it produces great racing. It's such a big grid, and it always produces great racing. But one rider who should be in this class but sadly is not racing and sadly not giving us the entertainment, it will be Jay King, who will be joining me in the commentary box.
See you, bud. Yeah, it's great to be in the commentary box. I'm not too gutted I'm not in this race because these conditions have been a bit horrible all day, really. So, but I think it's going to be an interesting race. I think we're going to see some riders who we don't usually see up the front, so should be good.
Yeah, it should be good. And obviously, Jay, you race in the Moto team class yourself, and you've raced in similar conditions to these. And tell us, what was it like towards the end of the Moto team race?
Yeah, it was sketchy conditions. A few people went out on slicks, a few people went out on wets. We went out on wets, got the right decision, and I think we came for 4th overall and got 3rd in class, so I was quite happy with that result.
Yep, and Jay, of course, if people are first time watching here at FAB or missed last round, why don't you explain to everyone why you're not riding the pit bikes?
Yeah, we had a bit of a nasty accident at Ella. I've come away with a few broken ribs and that. It's not the main reason I'm not riding either. We also had some bike problems as well, which has put halt to our weekend. We probably would have been out there if it weren't for that, but the ribs are still a bit painful from Ella as well.
Yes, I bet it is, and it was quite a nasty crash up, so it's great to see that you're even trying in the Moto team races. Yeah, everyone here at FAB, no one can say a bad word. It is pretty impressive what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's all good. It could be a lot worse. So
yeah, and of course these conditions, and it's a wet track. What is this track like in the wet?
To be fair, this was our only wet round here last year, so it was pretty good, to be honest with you. I think it feels a lot worse here when it's damp. At least for the guys now, they've got it full wet conditions, so no one can hide on tyre choices. They're all going to be on full wets now, so it's not as bad as what it would be damp, but
Yeah, and we see our front row right now, Rossi Banham, who's going to be wanting to try and win this race. Rossi Banham trying to win and trying to, well, he's done good in the Extreme 200 earlier, and riding these bikes around this track, it's
here we
so
go. It's going to be
twisted. So here we go.
Race. Here we go for the start. Brilliant on lights and green. They go. Brilliant start by Rossi, just getting a little bit of air, but mega start by Rossi. Ryan Ties just fitting in behind, and Lucas Brown in third.
Yeah, Lucas Brown, another one of the Talent Cup riders, teaching the younger riders a little bit of what it's like to be a motorcycle racer. And Rossi Banham leads the way on this first lap and leading such a treacherous pack in such treacherous conditions for Ryan Tyres.
It's always a bit hard on those first few laps in the wet, everyone just working out the conditions, but it looks like everyone's got round safely so far, so it's good to see. Rossi, taking the lead at the moment.
Yeah, one question I have to ask you, Jay, about these bikes in the wet. Is there anything much you have to do to them from the dry to the wet?
I don't change anything yet, just pretty much put the wets on. We do have the choice of intermediates as well, but I can guarantee you everyone out there will be on full wets at the moment.
Yeah, and what is it like? If you were in this position right now, if you're in Ryan Tyres, would you rather overtake Rossi and have a clear track?
It's nice to have a clear bit of track, keep the spray off your visor and that, but maybe keep it where he is at the moment. Don't get too close so you're in the spray, but if you can go for it, I'd definitely take the lead as quick as possible if you feel you've got the pace to get away. But it's very easy in these to make mistakes, so...
Yeah, and in your own championships, Holt, especially in the Moto team, what are you aiming towards this year, and in the pit bikes, which of course you're missing
out? Pit bikes, try and get back out for Wilton, and it would be nice to get some podiums before the end of the season, and battling out there with Rossi and Taylor and Reese, so it'd be nice to get a podium this season. I'm normally a wet weather man, so I would have liked to have been out there, but it looks like Ryan Tyres is really putting the pressure on Rossi Banham now. They seem to have cleared away from Lucas in third, so it looks like it's going to be a two-way scrap, but obviously these pit bike races, anything can happen.
Yeah, so in these conditions, anything can happen. I mean, Rossi Banham leads the way, but Ryan Tyres set the fastest lap of the race last time round, so he is catching, he is gaining. It looks like he wants some way past.
Yeah, well, Ryan knows this track a lot better than the rest of us. He's a local man. He comes and does the private championship they do here at this track. So, we've got to ride it out, and that is Matt Linley, who's gone down on the AMR machine. He looks like he's back going again. He looks like he's kept it running.
Yeah, he's getting restarted, and now we cross
Ryan
the line.
Tyres.
Just have 9 laps to go, and it is Rossi Banham still leads away from Ryan Tyres, but it's just 1/10 of a second at the line. And this is some close race, and there's someone else who you have raced against yourself, of course. It is
Nathan Riggy.
Nathan Riggy, yes.
He's doing well, battling with Leo Caulfield, another local lad who comes and does the championship here. So their track knowledge is very key.
Yeah, it certainly is. And
we've got another rider down. That's King. That's Bobby King, that is, on the Moto. Looks like he's hit the ground hard there.
Yeah,
but he seems to be up.
Yeah, up on his feet. It's great to see.
It's very slippery coming out of that chicane. Very slippery.
And in this track, does a lot of standing water lay, or what's puddles like?
The puddles, like I said, I think this track is better in the full wet conditions, so I think they'd be quite happy with the conditions mode, but it only takes a slight bit lack of concentration and you're down, so as we've seen with a few riders so far this race.
Yeah, Rossi Banham, of course, leads the way by just 0.4 seconds, setting the fastest lap of the race of 45.1 that time round.
He looks like he's just put a 1/10 of a second into Ryan now. So, Rossi, obviously he's got a championship to think of about Rossi. Ryan Tyres, he's just come here for this one round, so Rossi will be thinking about the championship as well.
Yeah, it's round 4, of course, of the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. You're watching the Pit Bike 140s, and what is our last race of the day? Rossi Banham leads the way with just 8 laps to go, but they're just about across the timing line to make it 7 laps to go. Time is running out for Ryan Tyres.
Yeah, Ryan is really right on the back of Rossi. Rossi seems to have it in the second part of the lap, but Ryan definitely has it in the first. So he'll be really looking to make a move down into this hairpin here. So very close racing. Between these two, they've pulled a nice comfortable gap on Lucas in third place. Rossi, though, really smooth. You can see how he's using all of the track and using as little lean angle as possible. And then we've got Lucas Brown a further 4 seconds off these two battling for the lead.
Yeah, Lucas Brown, of course, Talent Cup rider, as I said at the start of this race, but some riders pulling into the pits there, maybe not just feeling these conditions.
Maybe they've made the wrong tyre choice.
Yeah,
and we've got synchronised crash
Brown.
That's Lucas Brown and Reese Peacock. Synchronised crash in there. They've both managed to get back up. They'll be looking to get going as soon as possible.
Yeah, such treacherous conditions, and maybe Lucas Brown's back tyre just clipped Reese Peacock as he fell down.
And Taylor will be absolutely loving that, because that puts Taylor up to third, so that's really good for the championship for Taylor. Put him into third place now, and then we've got both Caulfields in fourth and fifth.
Yeah, now they're catching some back markers. And back markers, Jay, how difficult is it?
This is the hardest track for back markers, because obviously this is the shortest track we go to all season, so we catch the back markers of this track extremely quickly, but it's all about timing it, getting it in the right place, and if you don't think you can get it, don't go for it, because if you leave a gap when you've got someone behind you, they will take you.
Yeah, certainly, and Ryan Tyres is wanting to take the gap on Rossi Ban, but he cannot find one. It's one thing catching someone, it's another thing getting past them. But Leo Caulfield has actually went into third place. I believe Taylor Lawrence has had some sort of an issue.
We've got another rider down here. I can't quite see who that is at the moment. Can't see a number on the bike.
Yeah, we wait to see maybe on our timing screens in the lapse time of who that is, but he's up on his feet and he's okay.
Everyone's just getting a little bit overconfident now with these conditions and just want to push that a little bit extra. We got Ryan Tyres is down. That is second place down.
And he's just hopping off the track, getting away from harm's way. That's
a fast place to crash as well. So yeah, it doesn't look like he's in the best of conditions there, but he's trying to walk it off.
Yeah, he's up on his feet, which is the best part. But Rossi Banham, this is going to leave it open for him.
Rossi needs to have a good look behind him now and see that he's got a nice, comfortable gap for the lead.
Flag.
We have a red flag. Yep. I believe that will be a result. I believe
there's a 12-lap race and we finished. 4 left.
Yeah,
so
I believe that'll be a result.
We just have to wait and see. Ryan Tyres, of course, though, is going to have to.
I'm not 100% sure if Ryan Tyres caused the red flag either, so I'm not sure if he will be putting the results or not.
No, but his bike was laying in the middle of the track, so we're just going to have to wait, but that is confirmed.
A mega race by Rossi to just keep the pressure. He had pressure from Ryan all race, and he didn't put a foot wrong. Mega race by Rossi, really good.
Yeah, really good, and really dominant from it as well. I mean, he just didn't cave into the pressure, but that is a race result.
Also, that wasn't Ryan who caused the red flag, so I think he's got second. Yep.
So, well, Jay, I'll give you the honours. Why don't you
a brilliant win for Rossi Banham in first place, Ryan Tyres second, and Leo Caulfield third, and Cameron Caulfield in fourth, Liam Wood fifth, Nathan Riggy sixth, Simon Gates seventh, Zach in eighth, and Reese Peacock ninth, and rounding out the top 10 after an off was Taylor Lawrence.
Yeah, it was a great race, and it was hectic from the pit by 140s. It maybe wasn't as close as what we were expecting.
No, that was that as in close wise, that was pretty distant, shall we say, for the 140s. But as usual, full of mayhem as always. The conditions obviously very treacherous, and we can see some people limping back to their pits and hoping for a drier day tomorrow.
Yep, certainly. I mean, it's been very tough for all the riders, officials, and medics, and of course the cameramen out there. Shout out to all the cameramen, especially Connor, Ed, and they've been out there all day. Well, we've been nice and dry in the commentary box, and I want to thank you, Jay, as well.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate
the commentary and the incredible race that you put on today.
Thank you. I don't think the Moto team was that incredible, but I enjoyed it either way.
Well, thanks again, and well, hopefully we'll see you out tomorrow, and hopefully you can get some good results.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a nice dry day tomorrow and have to stop swapping all these wheels over. Cheers, guys, appreciate it.
Thanks, Jay. And of course, that was Jay King, leader of the Moto Team Championship, and Jay, of course, you can catch on his Pit Bike Sonic YouTube channel. And well, that is it done. That was Pit Bike 140 racing. That was another hectic race. And well, Dylan, you're back, and you're back in the commentary box. What have you thought your first day of racing?
I was stood up there in your shot now. I was stood up there when he had his high side. It was huge high side. Went right over the front of the handlebars and came down so hard that it sparked when his helmet hit the floor. So pretty big accident there to finish out the Pit Bike 140.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, Thanks to all the marshal mates once again, and all the cameramen that have braved it out in these conditions. But that is it from Saturday's coverage here at Clay Pigeon in Dorset. Thanks Dylan once again for making your debut, of course, in the commentary box. It was great having you, and well, all I can say is well done your first time in the commentary box. You did great, and well, more of it all tomorrow.
Yeah, no, exactly. All the same tomorrow, but we've got an even longer day with more races, so more to come.
Yeah, certainly. And once again, thanks for joining us. Please join us tomorrow in the same places. And that is it for today here at Clay Pigeon. Thank you and good night.
Good night.